everyone, and welcome to the UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic World Cup. We are here this morning bright and early from Lenzerheide in Switzerland for the under-23 women are just getting ready in the call-up boxes as I speak. My name's Rick McLaughlin. Joining me in the booth is Bart Brenchens. Bart, exciting races ahead today.
Yes, 4 different categories. Start with the women under 23 this morning. And I'm really looking forward to this big day.
Big day for you, Bart. You're going to have to do much of the work because my voice is nearly gone after the downhill yesterday.
I can imagine yesterday. What a day it was too, actually.
What an incredible set of races we had from the downhill riders. But today is all about the endurance mob. This is cross-country Olympic racing. And it is one of the biggest days of the year for the cross-country athletes. Any race in Switzerland is a huge race for cross-country riders as we see the top 8 take the start line. Samara Maxwell from New Zealand.
From Santa Cruz Rockshot, it is Sarah Cortinovis. 2-time World Cup victorious rider in Mosetan and snowshoe last year.
Sarah
At last week's Swiss National
Cortinovis,
Championship. Big performance
Santa Cruz
for the teams.
Rockshots.
Three-time national champion.
Kira Bohm from Cube, Next Generation XC from Germany.
2 silver medals at the 2023 national championships. It's Australia's
Noelle Burry went well last time out in the Czech Republic. A lot of pressure on her today.
off a double title weekend at the Danish national
Zoe Cuthbert from Australia.
The overall in 2022
Already been quite a successful second round for her. What can she do today in the cross-country Olympic distance?
in the short track 2 nights ago. Another young
Sophie Heavy Pedersen, Villiers Pirelli factory team in that leader's jersey from the last time out in the Czech Republic.
She is the European champion, 2-time national.
And Jania Kaluri for Tumus Acros, Young Stars, big Swiss team.
And a silver in the short track.
Pressure on her shoulders this morning. Ronja Blurklinger for the Live Factory Racing Squad.
The winner from the short track last Thursday it was.
Yep, she faced some adversity in Czech Republic the first round. Mechanicals stymieing that for her, but you get the feeling she's going to be the woman to beat today, Bart.
Yes, she's a very technical, strong rider too, and on this course you need to have the technical skills, you need to have the power, and she's in a good shape. She became national champion as well 2 weeks ago. Last week actually it was, sorry for that. "69 riders, 20 different nations in this category."
Anna McGorham there from Great Britain. Alina Benoit from Switzerland. So many French and Swiss riders in the under-23 women's ranks, Bart.
Yeah, also a lot of national teams coming here with these young riders if they are not part of an elite UCI team.
Well, they're getting ready for the start now. So shortly we will go to the big red lights, and then it's a random start thereafter. We will wait for them to go green here in Lenzerheide Bike Kingdom. And there are the red lights. They are under start orders now. One of the biggest days in mountain bike cross-country racing prepares to get underway here in Lenzerheide. And it's go at the second round of the UCI Mountain Bike Cross-Country Olympic World Cup for the under-23 women. And it's Blurklinger who leads them up the first hill, up the start climb.
That start lap, it's a bit different from the original lap. It goes on the asphalt the whole time, actually to the highest point of this course. So a wide turn to the left, where the riders are right now. And from there on, it's a long climb to the top. And later on in the next full lap. The riders, they will take a little bit of a different part here. This part is only for the start.
Zoe Cuthbert then out
Zoe
front.
Cuthbert, yeah, good start for her. She's very strong in short track. We saw that as well in where she had that big crash in Nova Mesto in the first round.
Yeah,
that first corner.
It was a big crash. It's still going on, that crash. I think it was that big, but she leads them up this start climb. Bart, bit of altitude here as well in Lenzerheide.
Yeah.
I ran that climb a couple of mornings ago, and it felt like you were holding onto my jumper the whole way up
you
there.
will slow down automatically on this elevation if you go too fast.
How do the cross-country Olympic riders deal with this? Will they have been at altitude for a while now? I know we used to see in Andorra, we used to see Nino Schurter arrive on race morning itself, so they didn't have to deal with the altitude.
Yeah, I think Nino, he lives very close to here in Goor. That's at the bottom of this mountain. And he's used to ride here in these conditions. He's coming here very often for training, so he knows what he has to do. But many of these riders, they have been training on altitude. Livigno is not that far from here in Italy, a very famous place for altitude training. But also more riders has been in the Alps, in the French Alps for altitude training, La Plagne, for example.
Just talk us through what you mean by altitude training. So you do set parameters at a higher altitude because there's less oxygen.
There's less oxygen. That's actually the main reason why they living over there and training over there. And yeah, with less oxygen, your body reacts to make more red blood cells to have the same power to deliver the power what you need to have in training actually. And your body reacts very quickly in that. And riders, they can use it for better performance on a lower elevation. But here in Lenzerheide, it's 1,500 meters, so riders definitely, they will feel it. This is the first descent.
Yeah, there are two options here, one to the right, one to the left. It's actually quite, dare I say, entertaining descent. Not that any of these guys are out there having fun this morning, but it's all about racing and being competitive. But you can swing up to the right-hand side of the shot there, as you can see, and drop back down through a really nice left-hand section.
Yeah, two different options. The riders can go to the left here, do you see it, and also to the right. And actually, if you have entering one of these lines, you have to follow them to the bottom of this descent. There's no opportunity anymore to cross to the other line.
There's a fairly sizable drop on the right-hand side of it, isn't there?
It is a very steep part. It is at the bottom of that. And you can see the riders in the back already
out the other side
climbing
of it.
again.
And this is the section they are climbing up. It's so typical of this Lenzerheide circuit in that it's all these like small, quite soft routes, like a carpet really, that you're riding on the whole time that could just sap energy.
Yeah, it has a lot of routes, this course here. Actually, this course is designed by Ralph Neff. A couple of years ago already, but it's still
I thought it was tricky. Now I understand. Yeah, Ralph's had a hand in it. He's had the shovel out.
But the course is almost still the same as the original one from some years ago. Two new sections in today's course. And we will see these new parts later. I
think if you had to characterize this course compared to the other ones that we see in the UCI Mountain Bike World Series, it's that it's going to sound obvious, but you're working throughout, aren't you? You never get a break on this track.
No, you have to push the whole time, actually. It goes up and down, as you can see here as well. You can carry on a little bit of speed most of the time, but then suddenly you slow down too much. You have to pedal again. But also these roads, they are so bumpy, and you need to have to keep the pressure on your pedals the whole time to keep your bike in balance and to go forwards.
Kenta Gallagher actually told me earlier in the weekend that it's a strange track because whenever you're pushing the pace and whenever you are going fast, it feels quite good. But the minute you start to slow down because of everything that there is on the track, he said it feels like the bike starts to go backwards on you. You can't get it going again. It's whenever you're riding at race speed, it rides well, but if you drop back off that, everything that your front wheel hits, all those little impacts, they just add up and it makes you feel like you're going backwards.
And suspension, tire pressure, these things are really necessary on a course like this.
Here is that start again. Bart, talk us through this one.
Yeah, the start always is very important for these riders. They like to be in the right position when it comes down in the first descent. So working hard here on this climb to move forward to the front. But on a climb like that, it's not so wide, so overtaking each other is not that easy at all.
really competitive field for the under-23 women as well this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, also now with showing these riders on TV, it's becoming more interesting for teams as well, and to develop riders like this.
We saw in the junior downhill as well. You know, junior downhill used to be a real, you know, out the back of the van sort of privateer endeavour, but the level and the level of the technology, the team support, the pilot skill, if you like, involved in it, super high. Those races as well, free to air.
And here you see
on YouTube.
So how much roots this track has.
The track looks in really good shape, though. Were you out on it this morning?
We have been riding on the other side of the mountain where the sun was out already. I mean, on this side it's still a little bit colder, especially in the morning when the sun comes over the mountains. But I think the conditions are quite good. Sometimes there's a little bit of moisturing on the roots, which makes them slippery, but
it looks in good shape, actually.
It looks in really good shape. We had some rain a couple of days ago, which makes the course very slippery, but no mud at all on this course. Just, what I said, if they carry on some moisturing on their tires over the roots, then it will be a bit slippery. You can see here as well, the ground is still a little bit, looks like a little bit wet. Sophie Heby-Pettersen leading now in the leader's jersey. Yeah,
she seems to have broken away. The Dane.
A very powerful rider she is. She won a lot of races already this year, this season, and also last year she was showing her shape.
Yeah, if you're new to mountain bike racing, you will never meet a group of people more obsessed with the conditions of mud and dirt and a million different words for it. I know a lot of the downhillers yesterday talking about how it was actually ideal because it was overcast, which meant that the water didn't evaporate off the track, which held it together. You know, you get into the real science of mud at this stage.
No, but I mean, the terrain, it's an off-road sport, so it's really important. The traction, the grip, what you have with your front, your rear tires, so the tire pressure, all these things. And also on a course like this, I mean, you need to have a volume as well. A bigger volume tire absorbs the bumps all the time much better.
What was the sort of width of tire you were running back in your day?
Well, I think it was even 1.9.
1.9, I was going to guess.
26-inch wheels.
Smoking dart. 1.9.
But now these days everyone is on a 29er bikes. 2.4 tires. That's almost a common size.
And those bigger volume tires, they run them at incredibly low air pressures, and the idea is that the tires lots of bandwidth to deform over things, absorb impacts, and to leach onto the side of those routes and provide plenty of grip for the racers. So
now they even are talking about with an insert, so that's actually a protection against pinch flat. These inserts absorbs and have a better rebound and less rolling resistance as well. That's something really new the tire companies are working on.
Yeah, the insert's kind of like a pool noodle that you get at the swimming pool that they just prevent punctures. But this is our first look at the crowd that are growing here in Lenzerheide. And that to your right-hand side of your screen is the pit, the tech feed zone. Sophie Heby-Pettersen, no, absolutely no need to go in there just yet. Cracking on.
Yeah, this early morning, I mean, the temperature is not too warm. She will feel comfortable.
It's actually a lovely temperature for a bike race.
Yeah, it's perfect actually. It's quite early. I mean, normally riders, they have to eat like 3 hours before the start. So 8:30 starts. It means 5:30 your breakfast. That's quite early.
That's inhumane.
Early wake up.
Inhumane, that. And what will that breakfast be? Well, I guess it depends rider to rider, doesn't it? But we talking sort of oats and...
Yeah, probably. Also, it depends what time of the day you have to eat. I mean, the elite riders, they start at 3:30 today, this afternoon. Of course, they are not eating breakfast anymore at around noon, but then they eat a lot of carbs. It might be pasta or it might be rice. Some also like white rolls, some just bread. It depends on the riders. Yeah, the individual choices for them.
And it's tough to get food in on a race day, isn't it? As well, I know Greg.
You have to.
Greg Callahan from the enduro side of the World Cup race, and he always takes to the start ramp, and you can see the back of his jersey bulging because he has to take his breakfast with him because he's too nervous before the race to eat it. And then on the first climb, he's taken out like bread and fruit from the back of his jersey because he couldn't get it in.
Yeah,
the
for some
morning.
of the riders it's very difficult, yeah, to take their breakfast, to take their food if they are nervous.
What about coffee though? Plenty of coffee?
I think not on this age of these riders.
I don't know.
The elite riders definitely they do.
Need to get some coffee in this booth is what we need.
I'm a big fan. Actually, we went for a ride this morning without breakfast and just two espressos before the ride. And that feels really nice.
Yeah, it's hard to beat an espresso in the morning. And Bart's Pit does some of the best coffee in the business. But it's a big thing, cross-country racing coffee, isn't it? All the teams are quite a high-end setup.
Yeah.
It's a bit like an arms race.
It is, yeah. Actually, coffee, it's so popular in cycling in general.
Yeah, it's part of the culture, isn't it?
Yeah, part of the culture. That's how it is.
Well, it's an excuse to go for a bike ride. You're going to get a coffee, aren't you? So that's kind
They call it coffee ride.
Coffee ride. There's nothing better than clopping your way into a coffee shop in cycling shoes.
Yeah, you see all these riders on Instagram with a nice cup of coffee, sometimes with a nice piece of pie with it next to it.
Why not? Sophie Pettersson then out front.
Yeah.
Zoe Cuthbert is in second, 17 seconds back in a group.
But a good start for Sophie Pettersson.
We jump on board the live drone. This is the second half of the course, really, out on the other side.
Now she's almost going back to the start-finish arena.
Just on the other side of the road from the Bike Kingdom.
But we saw also in the short track last Thursday, the under-23 category had. She was very strong in the start, and then she blew up a little bit. So maybe she has learned from that.
Is that part of this, at this stage of their careers, Bart, the younger riders, is just learning how to pace themselves and learning how to...
Yeah, but even if on an older age, they're still making these mistakes. Especially, there's so much adrenaline in their bodies. They like to go so fast. And especially in the start, they easily blow up.
We saw perhaps one of the best displays of how to pace yourself on Friday night in the short track from Jenny Risveds, who was just at the front but never in the lead and just took her time, calm, never in trouble, and then bang, disappeared on them.
Yeah, she already told these things in her interview.
She did. They should have been surprised if they'd been watching. If they'd been watching on TV, they would have learned.
She had it in mind how to do it.
Yep,
and then she is Sophie Pettersson for the first time going into the first full lap now.
She's looking good, Bart.
Yeah.
Just gone past our booth there, spinning away quite happily. And see what this gap looks like behind her. It is Cuthbert and Blurtlinger, two of the most powerful riders in the field, following her. 21 seconds now back, though. 4 seconds.
Yeah, Ronja Bloklinger, she won the short track last Thursday. The Swiss champion in the 23. Another new, young, talented rider from Switzerland.
Portnovi, Spuri, Kaluri following them.
Yeah, but for Sophie Pettersson now at the bottom of that big climb, so that part here it's still off-road. Later she will entering the asphalt again, and from there on, you've seen that before in the start lap. It goes up, but not completely to the top. Just before the top, they turn right, and that part is new of the course from this year.
It's kind of uphill berms, isn't it?
Oh, actually, that's a flowy downhill section. Normally, it's the opposite direction, right?
It's lovely to ride it downhill, but that's not what today's about.
These turns are very, very steep.
Yeah, they are steep. I ran them the other morning, and they were perilous.
Yeah.
And it's just your heart rate's already up because you've gone up the asphalt climb, and then
a short back look over her shoulder already. And here they are with Ronja Bloklinger and Zoe Cuthbert. Kortinovis not that far off on the 4th place.
This is the climb that we've seen so many attacks on over the years here in Lenzerheide, described by Nino Schurter the other night in the press conference as being not so long, not so short.
Not so long, eh?
There's probably a word in there somewhere for that.
It depends how fast you're going, probably.
Depends how hard you're attacking, yeah. Nino Schurter in action, of course, later on.
But you can see her body language here, Sophie, how difficult and how hard it is to ride on a climb like this.
Yeah, deceptive that camera angle. I wonder if they are bringing her back a little bit, or if that's just what we can see of them.
Now Sarah Kortinovis, who is on the 2nd place, leading this chasing group. Santa Cruz team.
Yeah, our timing screens in the booth still have the gap of 21 seconds, so maybe just a bit of a...
And here is that new section. And you see also this
Oh, Blurtlinger just has to dab a
turn
foot.
over there.
Loses the bike lane. Here is that section, yeah, that I think I've correctly identified as looking good fun to ride down, but absolutely merciless riding up it. Quite a thin, marbly, gravelly surface as well.
Yeah, and especially these insides, that inside part of these berms, there's a lot of loose gravel. So riders, they have to go a little bit more outside to have their grip. Yeah, it's a long, steep climb over here.
Denmark with a few fast young riders coming through now, Bart.
Yeah, but also in the elite categories. Malene Degen, of course, Sebastian Finney in the man elite category.
Sebastian Finney, we need to talk about him later on today.
Yeah,
what a ride in the short track.
He finished third, yeah. So, no, Denmark always strong, but also her brother, Gustav Petersen, a very strong under-23 male, brother of Sophie.
This little section here looks like good fun. From a normal mountain biker's point of view, this looks like it would be fun.
Yeah, this actually is not a part yet, but it will become with so many rides on it today.
I'm always so cautious when I say things like that because I know these guys are here to race. They're not here to have fun like I would be, but it's a nice flowy section, off camber, loads of routes, line choices. You couldn't ride it.
And here we see the riders a little bit further down, struggling on this climb for the first full lap.
Do you know what, Bart? The temperature is nice. So this climb, when it gets hot and you can feel the heat coming back off the asphalt.
Yeah, especially in the afternoon, and then the sun is right above the riders here on this part. Then it's very hot. Sophie Heby Petersen now for the first time in this descent here. Taking that outside line, a bit more steep here at the end. And this is that very steep section. A lot of exit speed for her.
Yeah, it is.
Looking good.
It is steeper, but you do get that free hit of speed on the way out of it if you take it.
And especially, yeah, I think for the riders, the left choice here on the left side, it's very bumpy, a lot of roots.
And we see it here now. You see it's so steep there.
And that's also a very slippery part. There's always coming a little bit of water out of the mountain.
There must be some water, yeah, coming out of the ground there, because every time I've been up there, it's been really, really slick. Yeah, it's a funny course in that there isn't many places that the real descenders can make time on, but there's lots of awkward features, like that big boulder, that big rock that you've got to get up on.
You have to find your flow on this course.
Yeah, definitely.
Your rhythm as well. And it's not easy at all. It goes up and down all the time. That big climb where we have been talking about. But if you're entering the highest point of this course, after that it goes slightly down all the time, up again, up, down again. So
off the drop then.
No problems for her.
Petersen looking good out front.
Yep, looking strong.
Yeah.
Stretching her legs here in these little descents.
I wonder if we will see it later in the lap. There is a big white boulder to the left-hand side of the track that the riders have to get the bike up onto before you can drop off the back of it. And
riders have been practicing a lot on that.
It's actually getting onto it is the hard bit.
It's a blind step up, and after, luckily, the riders, they know what they have to do, but yeah, it's a tricky part.
You know, that's just that sensation that you get as a mountain biker where you see where you would crash. I would crash getting onto the rock. I'd be able to get off it all right because I'd be off the bike by then, but actually getting onto it would be the issue.
There's a B option over there, and actually it's not that slow.
It's not too
especially
bad.
If there are too many riders in front of you. I think the B choice, that lane is not bad at all.
So
would be nice to see that on a GoPro camera.
What Bart's referring to, of course, is in cross-country racing, a lot of this course, there will be A and B options, what are known as, and the A option is a slightly more technical, more challenging route, but often faster. The B option may be slightly more circuitous, but as Bart says, if somebody's had an issue on the A one, or there's lots of riders taking the A, it can be just as fast. It can get you some clear air.
Yeah, and especially in the beginning of the race, sometimes there are so many riders around you, then even the B line, it's not a bad choice at all.
That chase group now, 16 seconds back.
Chasing group is coming back. Sarah Kortinova is leading that group.
Drone shot there, you can just see the moto ahead of them.
So 1 start lap plus 4 full laps, 5 in total.
So it's Pedersen from Blurklinger, from Kortenovus, from Cuthbert, and from Kaluri in
12
fifth.
seconds now only, so Ronja Bloklinger is coming back.
Well, Buri as well in sixth, but in a little bubble by herself.
This is Ronja Bloklinger.
You can see the
Swiss
roots.
champion.
Relentless here in Lenzerheide Bike Kingdom.
Yeah, we saw that fast start in the short track as well from Sophie Petersen.
Yeah, she's really...
Ronja Bloklinger here, second place.
Blurklinger, she had that mechanical nightmare, I think is probably an accurate description of it, in the cross-country Olympic distance in Novo Mesto na Morave in the Czech Republic, where she had a rear flat and they really struggled to get the back axle into the bike, and it was
Took a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, and by contrast, I mean, we saw then Evie Richards in the elite women's race, and it's just that little bit of racecraft where Richards just stepped away from the bike, took a gel, let the mechanics do her work.
Let do the mechanics do the work.
Blurklinger, she rode past the pit, then she had to go backwards. She got to the pit and then she tried to help, and the stress levels were rising, whereas it's just that little bit of tradecraft as a racer that Richards knew, no, I'll just leave them do it. I'll have a gel.
Yeah, yeah. But that's also the experience, probably what Evie Richards already has. Luisa Daubermann from Germany, 22 positions she has. With Sophie Peter-Hippersen still leading here. So we Cuthbert in the pink jersey, leading that group. Sara Kortenovus from Italy behind her. And then we have Noelle Burry from Switzerland. On this difficult part of the course, new this is as well. A small loop, similar to the original course, the terrain. A little bit extra, some extra meters. That's a chasing group with the three riders. This is your leader, the number one on her bike, Sophie. Drop her seat post down here for her to make it more comfortable. That's that big drop where we have been talking about before. No problem for Sophie Peter-Hippersen.
Just awkward, isn't it? Awkward more than challenging. It's just...
It is, yeah. You need to have the confidence.
It's one of those things, I know, certainly...
Ronja Bloklinger is actually not that far off on the second place.
She seems to have gone herself now, taking it into her own hands, 11 seconds back.
And definitely on this course, I think some of the parts riders love it, and some of the parts riders are more struggling to keep on with the speed.
I think it's one of those courses as well that once you start to slow down, once the energy levels dip, then it starts swinging at you, then it starts hurting, because there's nowhere to relax
11 seconds only now. Ronja Bloklinger on second place. The chasing group 18 seconds back.
Features like that big boulder, the old saying in the Enduro World Cup is you're not going to win it there, but you could certainly lose it. You know, you're not going to make much time cresting those awkward tech features, but you could certainly come off, do yourself a mischief quite easily. Into the tech feed zone then.
Probably for a bottle for her.
There is the bottle. Let's see the changeover go smoothly.
No, maybe it's a backup. Most of the time teams have a backup.
Doesn't look like there is, Bart.
Not today.
Not
so
today.
You can see that line, right? The staff people have to stay behind it.
It's one of those ones we see that a lot. It is deceptively tricky to take a bottle, isn't it?
I mean, the speed over there is not so high, so actually I'm surprised that she missed her bottle. It's maybe not the experience she has normally. With the speed of even 40 k's an hour, it's
challenging.
It's
challenging.
There's always a little bit of stress involved.
I'm asking you because I was never good enough to have someone give me a bottle, so I always just assumed it was hard to do.
No, even to give it to the riders, there's a little bit of stress involved. Chain off, I think. It must be
Blurklinger.
On that bumpy part of the course over there, on that
just
wooden
knocked
bridge.
the chain off, gets the bike back in gear. Do you know what? That's not the disaster it could have been.
Luckily, it went back on very quickly. So normally it doesn't happen that quick. Most of the time these days,
it's rare you see a chain come off these days.
Yeah, this the one-by drive systems, what everyone has. But
So
still, a chain guide, especially on a very bumpy course like this, is Yeah, I would say better to have. Definitely
So
better
what
to
Bart's
have.
referring to there is all the race bikes now, it's a single chain ring at the front of them, whereas once you maybe would have had 2 or 3 even, and a wider range of gears at the back of the bike. Now 12, yeah, and the
12.
rear derailleur as well has what's known as a clutch system in it, which prevents it from moving forward whenever the suspension's moving up and down, which generally is pretty bang on for chain retention, so we don't really see chains popping off
the
much.
teeth of the front chain ring
Unprofiled, yeah.
has a very like a thick one and a thin one. So and there's only one position of the chain to fit in.
Yeah.
And but still, 2 different systems, Shimano and SRAM, I would say. And I think, SRAM came up with the one-by system. Shimano followed them as well, and both systems are good right now. But a drop chain still it's possible.
It's possible.
Yeah, and it costs a lot of time. It very disturbs your rhythm too.
If you've been around the sport for a while, it is incredible, especially we commented on it during the downhill yesterday, just how quiet bikes are now. You know, like back in the day, they used to sound like a toolbox being thrown down some stairs, but nowadays they're silent. You just get that lovely fut.
But I've seen their the drivetrain, and they have like a chain guide on top, but also a chain guide at the bottom, and then they have like a special guide even on the chain stay to lead the chain actually in the perfect direction. Yeah,
traveling at the speed that people travel at on downhill bikes, the last thing you want is a chain flapping around.
Yeah, and downhill, and also the suspension, of course, of a downhill bike. How much suspension do they have these days?
Over 200 mil.
Over 200 dollars.
Yeah, so you're talking a lot of travel. So here we see those 2 chasers.
But the cross country is the same, 120. It's almost standard now these days.
Did you have any?
I did with 40 when I started. 40 millimeters of travel, but no lockout on your handlebars.
That's more
back in the days.
That's more of a suggestion of suspension than actual suspension, isn't it?
And actually, the suspension didn't work as it does these days.
40 millimeters. Wow.
Yeah.
I bet that was fairly heavy as well.
Yeah, and also I think the sag of the suspension was already half of it. So you had 2 left.
So it sagged by 20 mil and you had 20 mil to work with. But I bet that was cutting edge. That was like space age stuff, was it?
It is, yeah.
I think I got my first
technology in these bikes, it's incredible. Mechanics are working on it every day.
They've come so far. If you got into if this under-23 Women's World Cup race is the race that gets you into mountain biking, you go and test a few bikes from your local shop, you have no idea you're born. We have been through the wars to get these bikes to where they are now.
Yeah, and also the weight, of course, that's another really critical thing to talk about.
There's a group of 3 then chasing.
Yeah, maybe 4.
4, yeah. Cordanovis and Kaluri have ridden themselves back onto the back of the chasing 2.
Gina Kaluri on the 5th place from Switzerland. 23 seconds off only. Almost in touch with that chasing group.
Yeah, Kaluri 2nd last time out in Nova Mesto Morave.
Yeah, Ronja Blocklinger with her drop chain lost a little bit of time, but she's also still part of that chasing group. 19 seconds of the lead.
To paraphrase the immortal words of downhill superstar Sam Hill, you've got to have the bad days. You've got to have those bad days because you learn a lot in them, and they give you that mental resilience.
Yeah, and riders, they have to deal with these hard days.
Sometimes those days make you angry, and a little bit of anger goes a long way in this sport as well.
Yeah, only a few can be on the podium, eh?
Yeah,
only 3.
There's only so many spaces as the rest of the chasing group come past our commentary booth, the start-finish line now, just to give you an idea.
Yeah, a group of 7 with Emily Johnson is in there.
Minute and 20 back, minute 25 back, so the group out front, you happen to think that your winner is going to come from there.
Josef van Doren from the Netherlands here, that we see with the onboard camera. Back to your leader, Sophie Heby Pedersen from Denmark. She became national champion in the elite category as well in Denmark.
Yeah, did she?
Yep.
That's a big result. There's some fast elite riders there.
Yeah, Caroline Beuye, for example, Malene Degen.
Yeah.
So some strong Danish riders, but she beat them all.
Will these four start to work together, Bart?
They try, and you see that the gap stays more like the same, 17 seconds now. I think they have a couple of strong riders who can be fast here on this part of the course, the climb.
There is that climb.
And they have also a few who are very strong on that more bumpy, flat section, where we have that big rock and the roots. So Sara Cortinovis from Italy now, strong climber leading this chasing group.
Yeah, very, very slight, but very, very powerful rider, Cortinovis.
Yeah, and I think Ronja Blochlinger, for example, she's very strong on these rooty sections. And Zoe Kutburder, of course, she's strong as well. And Ginia Calori, another talented Swiss young rider.
One of the many talented Swiss young riders. Massive day of cross-country Olympic racing ahead of us today.
And Ginia Calori, she's part of the Ralph Neff development team, Thomas Across Young Stars.
Yeah, Ralph Neff, one of the biggest Swiss stars for many, many years, now a team manager and helping to bring these young Swiss riders through. And it's something that helps to keep the Swiss nation on top, I think. We talked to Nino Schurter at round 1 earlier in the year, and he said he felt a lot of responsibility to help start working with the younger Swiss riders, just as Christoph Sauser worked with him and the guys before him.
Yeah, but that is also good to see these guys back in the sport with their team. And especially, I think Ralph Neff, he has a huge development team with a lot of young riders.
Yep, Ralph Neff, a finger in many pies. You always see him cutting around the pits on his e-bike, don't you? And the team can't just having.
Yeah, these days the team managers, the technical trainers are allowed to ride on the course with an e-bike to help the riders.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean, they're not the youngest anymore.
Do you take an e-bike, Bart?
Not yet.
Not yet. Bart's still keeping it real.
I did last year, but I'm back on my full suspension again.
Yeah, full suspension bike, hard to beat. I've rediscovered mine of late, and a well set up full suspension bike, so good. Here they are down through this tight technical section.
Yeah,
you can see
Ronja Blochlinger, also we could
There's the B-line. The B-line to the right-hand side of your screen. Kaluri, and you can see just losing bike and a half.
Yeah, especially that exit speed of that part is not that fast anymore. So if you take the A-line, you carry on much more speed. And you see a little bit of a gap in between the first two and the second two of that chasing group. I would say maybe the more technical riders with Kutbert and Blochlinger now leading that chasing group. Cortinovis is staging the gap very quickly now.
Yeah, Cortinovis seems to be doing the work on that first climb. That's where she seems to be able to bring herself back into it.
So interesting this race.
It's kind of, it rewards neither the specialist climbers or the descenders this course, does it? It's kind of not really one or the other.
No. And also after the big climb, where we have been talking about already, after that there's still a long part to the finish line. And you can easily close that gap again if you are strong on this part of the course. Sophie Pettersen now still leading here, and she can see the riders next to her in these turns. The sun is out over there, nice.
Yeah, it's starting to warm up here in Lenzerheide.
13 seconds. You see, Ronja Blochlinger is very strong on this part of the course. She brought it back till 11 in the previous lap.
There's going to be plenty of heat out on the course here later on today when the elite level racers take to it. We do have the under 23 men's race, coming up after this one. And that should be thoroughly entertaining. There's some serious firepower in that.
I mean, these young guys are same speed for the first few laps as the elite men do. And that group is quite big. Also, thunder showers are expected for late afternoon.
Oh, that could spice things up a treat, especially in this nice, dry, warm commentary booth. Nothing better than being sat in here whenever training outside.
If just a little bit of rain comes down and you see on sections like this, and this is a very off-camber section with the roots becoming so slippy and it's so difficult to ride.
Yeah. You can see there.
Now it's nice and dry.
Yeah, that shot on your screen now, really every inch of this track, apart from the asphalt climb, feels like it is lined with those roots. There's a lot of energy goes up through the wheels into the bike. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, different lines.
Yeah, no.
First,
oh,
that's very steep over there to have a crash. And you see she's sliding down the whole way.
already getting the bike turned around and getting ready to go. Fair play. I actually think that turned out better for her than I thought it was going to initially. I was expecting.
Luckily, she didn't hurt herself too bad.
No, I was expecting some serious scenes to unfold in front of us there. But Blurtlinger now 11 seconds back.
Exactly the same as the previous lap.
Yep, they're holding station at the minute.
So we could build on 16 seconds only, third place. Then we have Sarah Kortinovis here.
Being roared on by coaches there.
Ginia Carlori in the fourth place. It's fifth place, sorry, fifth place, yes. But the number one in the race is number one on her bike. And the sun is shining now on the course.
Yep, starting to warm up. We have, as Bart said, had some weather earlier on in the weekend, just enough to keep the tracks in one piece, but you kind of also feel like it's been boiling up here as it does in the mountains, like it's due a heavy storm at some stage. Last night I thought it had arrived after the downhill and then it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped, huh? Yeah. But that's in the mountains always, huh? You can have a thunderstorm, but also almost a few kilometers away from it, there's nothing.
I was really upset because I was sat outside a bar having an Aperol Spritz. I thought we're going to get, you know, I'm going to have to stay here. I'm going to have to stay here and wait out the rain, but sadly not.
Luckily it didn't rain during the race in the downhill. We had that before here, I remember.
We have, yeah, and that is the thing about downhill races. They do, everybody wants it to be equal. They want the track to be exactly the same for everyone. And although it makes it exciting for the fans, it can neutralise a race as well if it starts to rain halfway through. Unless, of course, we see the genius of the likes of the late great Stevie Smith and St. Anne all those years ago, where it rained, everybody said, nope, that's it. Podium's decided, and he came down and absolutely smashed everyone to a winning run. So now and again, the
here you see that big rock.
There's that big rock on the left.
Is right now. Oh, it's Ronja Blocklinger. Who is?
No,
it's Sophie. It's Sophie Peter. Yeah, it makes it easy for her, but it's absolutely not an easy part of the course to ride.
No, you can see it up to the right-hand side of your screen there, that wooden boarding as they run off it. You can see the speed, you just can get off it. But as I say, it's actually getting onto it is a tricky bit. Dropping off it's fine, but it's quite an awkward, sort of craggy couple of steps up on the top of it. And the problem is,
it's very narrow on top.
And when your energy levels are low, and
when you're
very easy to get a puncture.
Oh, as well, yeah.
You can just pinch a tire on the sharp rock. And 12 seconds now to go up to Blurtlinger.
Yeah, the gap stays a little bit like it has been before, similar now. Difficult for the riders to close these gaps. Only a few seconds in between everyone. Drop of seat goes down for her. Coming into the tech feed again.
Now, will she get the bottle this time?
She has to now.
Yep.
Most of the time these bottles have also a little bit of energy drink in it, so some carbohydrates for some extra energy for the last part of the race.
Yeah, the fast carbs in the drinks has been a big development.
And that's the gap in between the number 1 and 2 in the race. In the 23 women.
Well, you know little markers around the track part where you saw them last time, and are they further ahead of you? Or are they
but riders, they know exactly where they are, how fast they are, what's the difference.
10 seconds now, so slowly coming down.
And also, of course, staff people from the team, they will inform the riders as well. Coaches, but also the mechanics do.
Do they give them the bad news as well? If it's going the other way, do you
have to try and say something positive. Even if it's bad news. Even if you're losing time or positions, you have to be positive to the riders. Which is not always easy.
We used to see, of course, in the elite men's, they used to They used to try and encourage Sam Gaze on. He used to shout back at them. He wasn't always for the encouragement, but Sam Gaze coming up in the elite men's race later on this afternoon. After that crash in the short track,
sad to see that.
Took out himself and Nino Schurter, but I think he's okay.
Yeah, they're both actually. Sam Gaze finished 14th,
he
so
went past
second.
Nino, yeah.
And Nino was 16, so that's also a second row start. Still both.
Do you know what? I'm still learning this job, and you can get so caught up in who's going to win the bike race. Sometimes I didn't clock that Sam had passed him until the results came up on screen. And I said, Sam Gaze, wow, passed Nino Schurter.
And it took him a lot of time to straightening his bar, and he took it all the time for that. But he must have been very fast in the last few laps of that race.
Well, we've said it before. Sometimes an angry Sam Gaze, or it can just inspire him. He can just some of his best results have come.
I think he's in a good shape.
He seems to be in great shape.
Yeah, of course. Short track, that's definitely something what he likes to ride and he's very good in. But I think also on a course like this, he's strong.
Some of his big results have come whenever he feels that he's got a point to prove, you know, and he really goes after it, and just a great rider to watch whenever it's his day. So powerful and big.
Yeah, world champion short track, but also world champion marathon. I mean, the opposite.
There's not many people could say that. No, there's not.
Pauline Ferrand-Prévot.
Yeah, Pauline Ferrand-Prévôt. But let's face it, you could caveat most conversations in mountain biking.
But I mean, short track, it's 20 minutes race, very high intensity. Marathon, it's a 4 or 5 hour race. Endurance.
What did you make of Rachel Atherton winning yesterday? That was an unbelievable return to form.
A rather return, it is.
40 World Cup wins.
Crazy. And also Nino can be in for a record.
Yeah, Nino can go for the record today.
34.
34.
If he wins and beat Julian Absalon's 33. They are equal right now. But that's later for today. Now, back to the riders.
Yeah,
here
let's focus on
women in the 23.
Ronja Blurtlinger.
Yeah.
She's gone back out by 3 seconds again from Sophie Heavy-Pettersson, our leader. There she is, with the number 1 plate.
Yeah, but Ronja Blurtlinger is not far off. You could see her in the back of the screen.
Now, Sophie Heavy-Pettersson, if you're just joining us, she has gone hammer.
6 seconds only now. Ronja Blurtlinger only 6 seconds off on the second place.
She went extremely hard from the start.
I think she
maybe
did have had something like a technical problem, or maybe a small mistake, because suddenly from 12 seconds it came back to 6 only. 2 more laps for her. 2 more laps to go.
2 to go. Here comes the leader past our commentary booth now.
She's still looking good.
She is still looking good, Bar, isn't she?
Yep.
A touch of the wrist fed. It's hard to read if she's breathing heavily or she seems to be pretty comfortable.
Ronja Blurtlinger on second
so
place.
does Blurtlinger. Just looks up the hill and just goes right. Magnets on. Behind her then, the battle for third place is starting to rage. Kaluri leads them across the line, this group of 3.
Cuthbert behind her, and then Kortinova is probably one of the strongest climbers from this category. (24, 26 seconds back for that chasing group.
2 to go.
At the bottom of the big climb. Ronja behind her on the second place. Good rhythm still, she's riding. "44 minutes gone in this race."
Here is that power-sapping climb that they just feel the lactic acid burning away in their legs.
Yeah, a good rhythm is very important on a climb like this, and also your mental strength, your motivation. And Sophie Petter-Hebersen, we'll see Ronja behind her. She's not that far off. That's less than 6 seconds, I would say.
Yep.
Of course, it's on a climb and it doesn't go that fast, but
you do get that concertina effect, on the climbs where they come together and go away again, but it's looking closer.
Yeah, maybe it's 6 seconds. If I count it.
See if we get. Have we got it on our screens in here?
You can see her rhythm. her body language.
Well, I can tell you, Ronja Blurtlinger, the woman in second place here, does have the fastest lap so far.
That's an interesting sign as well.
Yeah, and that's just ahead of Kortenovas and then Pedersen, so.
The US champion, Madigan Monroe, in front of us here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, our timing screen's still saying 11 seconds.
But also that chasing group, these three, they're not that far off of Ronja Blöchlinger, who is second.
Kaluri just getting out of the saddle there, as is Kortenovas.
Yep, again leading here on that climb. That's a hard turn actually over there.
It's a tight turn, isn't it?
Yeah, tight turn it is, very tight. We will see more problems later in the other categories too. Taking the turns inside. There's a lot of gravel, loose gravel.
The sun is now out in Lenzerheide, but there are a lot of very heavy black clouds.
Yeah, clouds already around.
Just to the west of us here.
That's the difference in between the riders. The number 1, 2, and now we see that chasing group of 3. It's not that much in between.
Nope.
12, 18 seconds.
Does a line of sight make a difference, Bart? If you can see the rider in front of you,
that makes a huge difference. Yeah, the motivation is still there for these chasers, definitely. Sui Kukker now suffering with the speed on this climb. On 5th place, Australia. Virginia Carlori with Sarah Kortinova fighting for the first position to get taking the descent. And this is where the descent starts, the highest point of the course. Dropper seat post down for these riders. Full suspension bikes for all of them. Closely together, no problems. A lot of off-camber sections here in this new part.
Chase group 16 seconds back. Blurtlinger doing it her own way, 8 seconds now.
16 to the bigger chasing group for Kortinovas and Carlori.
You see the leader Pedersen just taking the right hand lane there, the A line, slightly faster but more demanding technically.
Second place for Ronja Blöchlinger, also taking that
nice and controlled
right side lane.
Nice and controlled on the brakes there from Blurtlinger.
Sarah does the same. And Ginia Carlori always taking that left lane actually. Probably they have been practicing it and she feels more comfortable with that run.
Will they mix them up during a race, Bart, or do you tend to stick to the lap that you know?
I think they stick with it. If they have done it in training and probably they feel that's the best line for me, she will stick with it.
Will they practice the other lines though, just in case they get bumped off?
Yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. But yeah, most of the time it's a serious check what they do on the course. They're measuring a lot of things, timing, but also the speed. So and also the. Yeah, I mean, after it, it's just one part of the course where what you have been practicing, but also, yeah, how much effort does it cost to be fast on that part of the course? It's not only it has to be the mix for the whole lap. Ronja Blöchlinger and then Sarah Kortinova just coming very close right now, 3rd place.
Yeah, the technical.
Ginia Carlori on 4th.
The technical side of cross country, something that's really, really come on in the last generation of riders. Most of the teams now have a technical coach on board to help them with descending technical features and
riding around with these riders.
Really, the likes of Nino Schurter, Jolanda Neff started pointing out that you could make a lot of time on descents and on technical features, and that's something that everyone has to take seriously now.
It is.
The style
and the courses became also more technical, so you need to have the skills. And you see here 3 arrows means a very difficult, a very steep descent. That's actually a common sign in mountain biking.
Means get ready. Put your seat down and get ready.
Yeah.
Better bring your A game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean in marathon racing, actually, where you not have been checking out the whole course, and you see a sign like that, yeah, of course you start braking and try to find out how steep, how dangerous
looking
sections
far ahead,
are.
yeah.
But I think the riders on this course, they don't see the sign.
It's worth checking out UCI Mountain Bike World Series, our coverage of the Marathon World Cup this year. What a format of racing that is, something you know all too well from...
Yeah, I mean, it's also a mass participants format, huh? Everybody can do it.
I'd love to do it, like, but just not with a clock on it. Like, to just do it for a big ride, but...
It depends how much elevation of climbing it has.
Yeah, so marathon cross-country riding is one big loop, so you're talking 100k this year for the World Cups, and pretty much
on the most beautiful places on earth, in the mountains.
We head next to, where do we head next to? Leger, I think the next one is in, and then finally in Snowshoe there's 100k as well.
Yeah, beautiful places.
It's just a shame we're busy doing this part, otherwise we could get out there together. I could be on a motorbike.
You can ride some part of the course in the morning.
But it's incredible because it's a big distance, but the racing's tight.
It is, yeah. I mean,
they go back and forward a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, there are a lot of tactics involved, and team tactics as well in marathon racing.
No, thrilling. All the highlights for those are available on the UCI Mountain Bike World Series YouTube.
Virginia Carlori, still on 4th place.
Here we go. Are we going to see a bit more drama through this drop section?
Rosa van Doren in that
nicely
purple kit. Ronja Blochlinger, she's on 2nd place, still 16 seconds.
It's gone back out by 5 seconds, hasn't it? Maybe Pedersen just got wind that she was coming and has put a bit of an effort in, but Kortenova's looking strong in 3rd, actually. She's closing the gap to Blurtlinger in front of her.
Looks like that. Let's see how rough the terrain is over there. The roots, the bumpy part of the course. Tight turns over there. Sophie Peter-Hibbelsen is right now. Yeah, the full suspension bike, they do their work. Beautiful shot.
Yeah. Lovely leafy undergrowth around the Red Bull Roots and Rolls section.
Working hard here in this part, moving with the whole body. That's how you have to do it. Carry on the speed in the little descents to the next climbs.
It is what really sets mountain biking out from a lot of the other cycling disciplines, is just how much of your body it works, every single inch of it. These athletes incredibly well-rounded in terms of physical condition, training.
Roots and rolls, yes, that's all it is. It is not an easy ride for Sophie Hibby-Petersen. She's pushing hard all the time. You can see her body language. She's exhausted.
I was going to ask you, Bart, is it a tough gig to be out there by yourself? There's a lot to sort of mentally deal with.
The problem is, it feels good when the gap will getting bigger, but it stays the same all the time. 11 seconds, and it has been 16, now it's 15. And only 1.5 laps to go. It's not that far anymore. But it's not extending the gap. So she has to push hard, and also the numbers 2 till 5, they are very strong too. It's still possible for them as well to win this race.
Is it mentally more complicated if you're by yourself? Because if you're with other people, you just have to get in front of them, you're racing them bar to bar. When you're by yourself, you have to turn your head off a bit, you have to manage the gap, you have to...
But as long as you are leading, the feeling is still good.
Okay, right, okay.
Of course, but also she can ride her own rhythm. She can slow down maybe a little bit on the climbs to save some energy, and pushing hard again on the more flat parts, or gain some time in the descents.
She had a drink there and threw the bottle straight away, so I'm guessing that must have been some kind of energy drink.
Yeah, and doesn't like to carry on that extra weight on her bike. Most of the time, even the bottles are not completely full, but every gram is too much for them.
Blurtlinger.
She takes the bottle with her. Actually, the best part to take the drinks is around the start-finish area, that asphalt part. A bit smooth and not too bumpy. 2nd place, yes.
The sun has gone back in here, so temperature staying pretty much constant. There are those gaps. Yeah, 20 seconds now between Pedersen and Blurtlinger. 8 seconds back to Kortenova. I wonder if we're just going to see her become a factor towards the end of this one, maybe get herself up into 2nd place.
Virginia Carlori, 4th place. Yeah, Ginia Calori, she's on 4th place. Sarah Kortinovis, she's on 3rd. The gap's getting bigger now, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Stretching her legs.
We jump on board the live drone.
Beautiful, beautiful shot.
And you can see just how hard she has to work over those routes. There is a line burned into the right-hand side there that seems to be working, but those first couple of laps, whenever the races are all together, you have to be prepared to take it to the inside. Just deal with those routes as they come.
And there's a little uphill part in that last loop to the finish line.
She heads down the right-hand side then.
22 seconds now.
Back towards the start-finish. Yeah, 22 seconds. The elastic band seems to have broken back to Blurtlinger. Kortinova's 31 seconds back. Kaluri is in a little bubble by herself, where Zoe Cuthbert has dropped off now. 21 seconds back on the Swiss rider.
Yeah, Zoe Cuthbert already on a minute. On the 5th place.
And this will really, if Pedersen can get this one to the line, it will really secure her lead in the overall quite nicely. The rest of them all sort of mixing things up and taking points off each other in the chase.
With the drone just behind her. Between the trees.
Have been followed by one of those drones before, and it feels like they're right on your shoulder. That noise,
that
is
noise.
it's very hard to work out that they're a safe distance behind you, but
it makes you a bit nervous.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, no problems at all for Sophie Peter Hebelsen. It'd be nice if your brother is following up in the next category, next race.
Puts a bit of pressure on him if you win, I guess.
Their teammates as well. Willier Pirelli team.
Well, we just mentioned the absolute authority in that. Rachel Afferton racing with her brothers for years as well.
Yeah.
As she won early on, the pressure was on G then. It was
but he didn't win.
He didn't win as much towards the end as she did now. Certainly, Rachel Afferton stunning the mountain bike world with that comeback yesterday.
Yeah, but Gustav Pedersen, he's a very talented under-23 rider too, so he has a big chance to win the next race, the next category, as her sister does. Last lap, final lap.
Final lap then.
Lap times around 15 minutes. 14:55, the fastest lap time right now.
Yeah, fastest lap does belong to Sophie Heavy Pedersen on lap 4, the last one. So she did turn the screw, Bart.
Yeah, you saw as well the gaps became a little bit bigger immediately. 21 right now, 30 seconds to the 3rd place for Sarah Kortinovis. Santa Cruz RockShox Pro Team. And if you know it's the last lap, the final lap for the last time on that hard climb, you will push everything you have. Thomas across young stars, Ginia Calori on the 4th place. Can she make it to the podium? Only 13 seconds in between her and Sarah Kortinovis. So 2 Swiss riders in the top 5. Yeah, it motivates a lot if you can ride your home soil race. Zoe Cuthbert on 5th place. But Sophie Peter Hebelsen now look back over her shoulder on that big climb in front of her, the asphalt part.
Yep,
it's looking
last
good for
time
her.
Up here. She'll be happy to see the back of this one. It's gone just about as well as you could have hoped for Sophie Heavy Pedersen. Mission accomplished.
Yeah, it was Ronja Bloklinger who had a similar lap time of 14:55 the previous lap. but that's the fastest time so far.
But 21 seconds, Bart, you feel it would take some kind of disaster for Sophie Heavy-Pedersen to really...
Yeah, but I mean, it's mountain biking. A lot of things can happen. I mean, the course is not so slippery, but still you have to be concentrated. Technical problems might...
I've definitely lost more than 21 seconds in a crash before, so...
It is so.
It doesn't take much.
And that's the difference in between the number 1 and 2 in the race.
Yeah.
This is the number 3, Sarah.
She's ridden well today, Bart. She has ridden very, very well.
That tight turn.
The power to weight ratio of the cross-country racers is unbelievable, isn't it?
It is.
Such light, sort of small people a lot of the time, but the amount of watts they can put out and generate is just incredible.
So the watt per kilogram body weight, that's yeah. If you are a strong climber, that's all has to do with the weight issue. That's why the bike has to be so light. But also you need to have the power, and especially on a course like this. This one has a big climb, but also has a long part of the course where you need to have the power. Sarah Kortinova is on 3rd place, number 8 on her bike. 9 seconds in between her and Ronja Blocklinger.
Kaluri, 4th place. 41 seconds back off the leader. There's the rider in front of her. Sarah Kortinovis riding at Santa Cruz.
Yeah, Santa Cruz became a strong brand in mountain biking.
They really did, yeah. A brand that came from skateboarding legend Rob Roscopp, and then such a big name in downhill racing for so long. And Enduro really one of the privateer bikes of choices, and only recently really sort of started going high end with the cross-country racing, but they've really started to carve a name for themselves. The Braido brothers and teammates of Kortinovis, of course.
Yeah.
And that Santa Cruz Blur, I have one myself actually. It's a fantastic cross-country bike. Really well put together, well thought out. And the same family, of course, as Cervelo, which we'll see coming up a bit later on with the Jumbo-Visma riders.
Van Empel, Milan Vader.
Yeah. And that is a nice race bike. That's a race bike, isn't it?
A road bike, I would say. But also they have a mountain bike right now too. Gina Carlori on the 4th place. Can she make it to the podium? Only the top 3.
Yep.
In the under 23 categories, top 5 in the elite categories.
Well, Carlori, she's mixed things up. She's taken that A-line this time.
For the first time. No problems for her.
But here is the leader, Sophie Heavy-Pedersen. The Danish rider riding a pretty much textbook race. You see the saddle just pop up there in the dropper post. Sits down exactly at the right time and the right stroke of the pedal. Metronomic precision this late in the day. Sophie Heavy-Pedersen. Ronja Blocklinger for Liv. I just don't think she's been able to come up with any answers for the Dane today, Bart. She just didn't seem to be able to bridge the gap at any stage. 11 seconds was about as close as it got.
Yeah, a fast start of Sophie Heavy-Pedersen, and after that, almost the same gaps in between. Most of the time, of course, now in between the numbers 2, 3, and 4, these gaps are a little bit bigger. But it's still not that much.
That early attack from Sophie Heavy-Pedersen, do you think that will be to see who would have come with her? But then actually no one came with her, so she just cracked on.
Yeah. But definitely in the other categories, riders will stay more together for longer time in the race.
Yeah. Plenty of intrigue lying in wait ahead. After this race, of course, the under-23 men's race will kick off. And then after that, we're into the elites, elite women and elite men coming up later on today. On Discovery Plus Eurosport. GCN Plus.
And this off-camber route section, probably the hardest part of the course, the most difficult part of the course to ride.
Energy sapping, isn't it? But track's looking good. Looks like it should hold up nicely. Still seeing some black clouds overhead.
Yeah, and if the clouds are already here this early in the day, a lot of things can happen.
Yeah, as you've seen it here throughout the week. Sometimes they burn off and disappear.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
other times they do not.
It was Friday, I think, and we had some rain in the afternoon.
Yeah, it threatened it last night, but it never quite dumped it, which is why I think today, at some stage, we are going to see some stormy weather roll in to Lenzerheide Bike Kingdom.
Blochlinger, Ronja Blochlinger on second place, 14 seconds. Still a bit to go in that last lap. Sarah Kortinova struggling here on these parts.
Nearly done now, Kortinovis. Nearly done. The bike is nearly home. No mechanical disasters at all to report other than Ronja Blochlinger's chain coming off as well.
That drop chain, but it was maybe on a critical decision part of the race.
Maybe that was a bigger factor than we realized at the time.
Yeah.
Because it can just upset your mental rhythm.
Your
and your
mental
momentum.
rhythm, yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, sometimes little technical problems decide the whole race. 50 seconds now for Gina Carlori on fourth place. It's looking good for Sophie Petter-Henderson.
Yeah, when you've got the #1 on your race bike, it comes with a bit of pressure, but she's handled that well today, the Danish rider.
No better number than the #1. Ronja Blochlinger. Home solo race for her. Second place. The Swiss national champion at 23.
So, just over an hour gone. A race that a lot of these racers keep race diaries where they record their thoughts after each one of them. And Sophie Heavy Pettersson entry, it's going to be a pretty short entry this evening. Went according to plan.
She did.
Went perfectly according to plan. There's that bit awkward rock over it for the last time.
No problems.
14
Safely.
seconds, 25 seconds back to Kortinovis for Blochlinger. So you would have to guess that is going to be your top three as they head towards the line. But as Bart says, it just takes one little moment of inattention or a lack of focus, and that time can evaporate very, very quickly. So it's never over till it's over in mountain bike racing.
Yeah, but the course is not too dangerous actually today. No surprises. I would say it's dry.
I was just thinking that compared to the chunky rock sections we saw in Nova Mesto, where you can take a rear mech off or you can bang a pedal, it's really more rider focused than sort of mechanical focused, this one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's what I think too. Of course, when the speed is more, when the speed is higher, I think especially for the many categories, and it's more easily to have technical problems.
Sophie Heavy Pettersson just got the back wheel got kicked up on that bridge, which just as we were talking about it, one little moment of inattention.
Now taking that transit lane, I would call it like that. So no technical support, no feet.
Yeah, plenty of debate about that in the short track
but 11 seconds only, you see.
Yeah, 11 seconds.
Blochlinger is coming back again. And there she's sprinting for that last loop.
Yeah, we saw plenty of talking about that tech feed zone lane during the short track race, where racers were using it as a second option, which they are allowed to do, as the rule book states. So not so in the cross country Olympic. Kortinovis getting a wriggle on up the hill as well.
A little bit of a drink for that last bit of the race. But I think the riders, they found out, because also that tech feed zone has been part of the short track race from last Thursday and Friday. And the riders, they found out that was a little bit of a faster lane. So now Sarah Kortinova, she took a bottle, sprinting through that lane.
Well, out of our commentary booth window, they are preparing for the leader to come to the line.
9 seconds in between the numbers 1 and 2.
The camera count.
It's still not over.
The camera count has gone up in the finish area, but it mightn't just be over yet. 9 seconds now.
That's your leader.
As close as the gap has been, and we will have a long drag on the asphalt to the line where Ronja Blurtlinger.
And this is at last the little uphill part of the course, the gravel. It goes slightly up, but it's a hard part of the course.
And that is a back marker.
If you are exhausted.
That's a back marker. Sophie Heavy Pettersson is about to catch and pass, gets herself out of the way well.
13 seconds. Yeah, normally like back markers are not able to be on the course. There's an 80% rule, which means if you're too far
back, you get pulled. But I wonder if maybe
out.
she's had an issue or something, or
could be.
But
yeah.
she will need to get out of Ronja Blurtlinger's way, who will be arriving onto the scene imminently. 13 seconds now, so it's gone back out again. So
That's
maybe,
the back marker.
maybe, just maybe, Sophie Heavy Pettersson
There
has
she
done
is, the
enough.
number 2.
There she is.
When you're blocking on 13 seconds.
Great shot this through the trees, isn't it?
It is. Winding through the trees, to the forest here in Lenzerheide, next to the lake.
Beautiful lake as well.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place here.
Even by Swiss standards, this is a beautiful place, a very beautiful country. But this corner off it, absolutely magnificent.
Not that far anymore for Sophie.
Sophie Heavy Pettersson, Ronja Blurtlinger, Sarah Kortenovis, Gina Kaluri and Zoe Cuthbert. They're your top 5 as it stands, covered by 1 minute 51 seconds. 10 seconds now,
Yeah.
Blurtlinger.
I think it's too late.
I think it might be too late, you know. Last order's been called on this one for a while now.
Entering the arena almost. Here she is. Sophie Pettersson. What a ride she did.
What a ride, yeah. Pretty much perfection the whole way round.
Yeah.
One drop bottle. Is that the only fault we can find with this one? Feels like it.
It didn't disturb her at all.
She has one look over her right-hand shoulder, gets the head down, and now Sophie Heavy Pettersson can start to celebrate because she is about to win the second round of the UCI mountain bike cross-country Olympic under-23 race. Sophie Heavy Pettersson for Denmark crosses the line to hold on to that leader's jersey in some style. One drop bottle, just about the only mistake, the only negative part I could find from that performance today. Ronja Blurtlinger
From Switzerland here.
from Switzerland, absolutely dug deep today, but it wasn't enough to beat the Flying Dane. She went from the get-go, never looked back.
11 seconds at the finish line.
Over to Gustav now, the pressure's on.
Yeah.
Third place then, if we prepare to welcome
Here
Sarah
she is.
Kortenovis. Look at the smile, she's happy with that one, Bart. Onto the
Big
podium.
smile on her face.
Onto the podium.
Yeah, strong ride for Sarah Kortenovis.
For Santa Cruz RockShox Pro Team. Gina Kaluri on the podium rider from last time. Last time out in the Czech Republic. 4th place today.
A good ride, but she just missed the podium.
A good ride, but just didn't have those last couple of laps to become a factor in this one.
Not that much in between these riders.
Not much between them at all. You can see the computer's getting stopped, all the essential data.
They're
That'll go under review later on, over dinner, I'm sure.
analyzing the whole race with their trainer, their coach.
To try and figure out some answers for next week in
Yeah,
Leogang.
and try to find out the improvement, what they have to do. Yeah,
Sophie Heavy Pettersson can find any of them, we're all in trouble.
maybe practicing grabbing bottles.
Yeah, if Sophie Heavy Pettersson went round there any faster, you and I could have finished early and gone for a coffee before the men's race. So 11 seconds then. There's Zoe Cuthbert over the line. The Australian, full of smiles.
Happy with their 5th place. strong ride.
Yes, she had to dig deep in the Czech Republic after that crash in the short track, but that seems like due reward for the Australian. One of the big... Apologies for the language there. She celebrates with the photographers and the media.
This is what it means for these riders.
So
She's in the top
emotion.
5.
I don't know where they get the energy to celebrate from. I'd just be lying on the ground.
Quick after the finish.
Be lying on the ground crying.
Samara Maxwell.
Samara Maxwell, front row rider across the line for New Zealand. Just after her, Kira Bohm of Germany. There she is, your winner today, Sophie Heavy-Pedersen.
The really Pirelli factory team rider.
Gives it the double pistols over the line.
Gonja Blochlinger, the second place for her here in the Swiss.
You see the relief mixing with the agony. Sina Van Thiel crosses the line for Germany in 8th.
And another big smile for Sara Kortinov on the 3rd place today.
World Cup victory. Now, how important was that early attack here in Lenzerheide? Because really, it paid dividends.
Yeah, it's very important on this course. I think it's important to be alone because myself, I'm good in the downhills. So when I'm by myself, I can do my own pace and take my lines. And yeah, so it was super important for me to be in the front alone.
And how much confidence does this give you going into the next round?
I know I'm strong, so yeah, a lot of confidence, yeah.
Great, thank you very much and congratulations.
A very strong ride, definitely it was. And yeah, next week it comes very quick. Thursday already, short track again for Sophie Heavy-Pedersen. In Leogang, the next round.
We're into the season now where the races start coming thick and fast. Leogang is the next round, but let's get some results from Lenzerheide. Heavy Sophie Pedersen, Villiers Pirelli Factory Team, Ronja Blurtlinger, Live Factory Racing, Sarah Kortenovis for Santa Cruz, RockShox Pro Team in 3rd, Kaluri, Cuthbert Maxwell, Bohm, Van Thiel, Munro, Enduro Ford.
Madigan Munro from the USA, national champ, 9th place, yeah?
Yeah, good ride from her for Trek Factory Racing. And let's see how this one unfolded then. This is how she did it.
A small gap in the first lap.
A highlights package where you aren't going to see too much of any other rider because Sophie Heavy-Pedersen did this her way today by herself. There's that drop bottle, the only fault Bart and I could find with her performance.
Mistake.
You'd take that, wouldn't you, at the start of the day? You would take that as a result of that was your only mistake. Heads up there.
But faultless, actually, this whole
Bart, look
ride.
Look at her Frulo's descent.
Yeah. Must be a good feeling.
You can tell that she is somebody who has spent a lot of time going fast on bikes as well as practicing going up. Sophie Heavy-Pedersen, the Dane, then takes the win.
Let's see how beautiful it is here in Lenzerheide.
Oh, it's stunning, isn't it? I'm going to throw myself into that lake later on this evening. You've been warned.
And the fans coming in more and more.
They are packing this place out. It is going to be standing room only in just a couple of hours whenever we get ready for the elite races.
And we see already the men in the 23 warming up, so not that long anymore. 10:30 the start of this category.
The Swiss nation so dominant in cross-country racing. This is their home round. This is the one they all want to win. And it is coming to you on your screens live from Lenzerheide.
Ronja Blöchlinger from the Swiss. 2nd place for her today.
Technically so good, Bart, aren't they? You can just see that the tyres spend so little time locked up, skidding. They're off the brakes. They're making the bike grip.
Yep, and that's a very slippery part, actually.
There's not much grip up there.
Turn over there, steep one. But no problems for these riders. And look at the mountains, the view. Wow, the clouds are coming in.
They are coming in.
Some dark ones.
You can just see some dark ones over there. They're the ones that...
hope they stay away for a couple of hours.
They're the ones I've been spying out the commentary booth window. Beautiful lake there as well.
So nice. Also the team area. Beautiful one here in Lenzerheide.
Here are the highlights then, how this one unfolded. The UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic World Cup second round for the under-23 women. It was all go on the start loop.
Zoe Cuthbert was leading in the beginning.
Zoe Cuthbert,
but it
yep.
didn't take that long. Sophie Heby Pedersen, she took the lead very shortly after the start.
Never looked back.
No, that chasing group, they came back till 11 seconds. Ronja Blocklinger.
We thought this might be the chasing pair, but Cuthbert moved backwards from Blurtlinger.
But the gap was there all the time. Enough for Sophie Heby Pedersen.
It dropped to as little as 6 seconds, but never below that. 11 seconds, 16 seconds for the majority of the race.
Envisioned most of the time for Ronja Blocklinger, but this drop chain in the beginning of the race, when she was almost back to the lead, cost her probably a win.
It just stopped the momentum, didn't it?
Yeah.
It just stopped the momentum.
Yeah, and she was on her way to come back to the first place, but it didn't happen. Then that chasing group with 4 of them, with Sarah Kortinova, Zoe Cuthbert, Ronja Blocklinger, and Gina.
This actually works out well. Look, manages to get the bike turned around before the bottom of it.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that. That's a save. Blurtlinger on the bottom of the climb. As you say, Bart, in vision for most of the time.
Yeah. It motivates riders to keep on going, but she couldn't go close the gap. And then that chasing group with 3 behind her, behind Ronja Blocklinger, Sarah Kortinova. She was the strongest of that chasing group. Zoe Cuthbert, she finished 5th. Virginia Kaolori, she finished 4th, just out of the podium with a strong ride that even she had. The gaps in between the riders weren't that big, but the win was for Sophie Heby Pedersen from Denmark in her leader's jersey. Ronja Blocklinger, 2nd place. And Sarah Kortinova from Italy, Santa Cruz RockShox team on the 3rd place.
Dann heute überreicht von Herrn Markus Fritschke, Leiter der Markt ÖKK und einer der Hauptfahrer des Mountainbike-Weltcups Lenzerheide.
In 3rd place today, representing the Santa Cruz RockShox Pro Team, it is...
There we are then, the podium. Your 3rd place rider today, Sarah Kortinova. Happy with that one.
Yeah. To be on the podium, it's always nice. And who wouldn't be like to stay on that podium? Beautiful one.
Yeah, it's a good podium, isn't it?
Yeah, looks really nice.
It's great, Bart, as well, that we get these podiums turned around so quickly now after the races as well, and the riders get to enjoy them and not hang around for hours waiting for them.
I like it. And the fastest bike also on the podium on the left, on your left-hand side.
It looks clean, but they cleaned it.
Actually, of course, it's not that muddy at all.
It's not that muddy, is
no.
it? Here is your winner then. She did it her way. She did it her way from the front and was alone for pretty much all of it. Sophie Heby Pedersen takes to the top step, pops the seat up. Even now, she's still working. Bit of attention to detail there, Bart. Great to see. Sophie Heby Pedersen with Villiers Pirelli factory team.
The first race of the day is done.
And now the champagne!
Champagne for these riders.
Champagne for the podium riders.
Shower.
Congratulations, ladies. Don't go away. In a few moments, we will present our overall leader's jersey after our stop.
It's early for champagne, but why not after a performance like that? Sophie politely requested to stay where she is to receive the leader's jersey that she... Oof. That trophy nearly going awry there for Courtney Novus.
Gentlemen, your U23 XCO leader after Lenzerheide, winning for the jersey, presenting the jersey.
The overall jersey then, re-secured, and that is the big one. After that display today, I'm not sure Sophie Heavy-Pettersson needs any more confidence, but that points lead will certainly give her some more.
A different course next week.
All about the climbing, Leo gang. All about the climbing.
Old school, they call it.
Yep.
With a lot of climbing involved.
That would have favoured
With a shape like this, I think no problems.
It would have favoured a young Bart Brenchens, I reckon, Leo gang, but we might see the likes of a Sarah Courtney Novus maybe coming to the front of that one.
Yeah, she's a good climber. But there's also the shape you have of the day.
Heavy-Pettersson.
It doesn't mean a win today that you will have another one next week.
Heavy-Pettersson then from Blurtlinger, Kaluri, Courtney Novus, Bury, Johnson, Maxwell, Bohm, Cuthbert, Garnier. That is your overall as it stands. 77 points to the good now. The Dane ahead of the Swiss rider at the front. Well, that is it from the under-23 women's race, but don't move a muscle. We are here for the men's UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic World Cup, kicking off at 10:30 Central European time. Just enough time to get a coffee. Make yourself comfortable.
Half an hour, and we are back.
Hour. Yeah, we're back. We will see you then. Thanks for watching.
Aber geht schon wieder raus, weißt du? Nicht drinnen laufen. Ja, nein, nicht drin. Nein, wir gehen noch raus. Nein, geht bitte raus. Ich habe nur gemeint, wenn wir drüber steigen. Ja, ist gut. Ja, da zum Weg. Easy.
So we are 2 minutes to boxes closing, and we need a top 8 U23 men to your boxes immediately, please. Top 8 U23 men to your boxes immediately. Thank you. Your attention, please. Your attention, please. 1 minute to boxes closing. All top 8 riders to your boxes immediately. All top 8 riders to your boxes immediately. Boxes are now closed for the U23 men's XCO race. Boxes are now closed.
Yeah, I go and get it.
Immediately to the boxes, please. Luca Wienmann. Immédiatement au box, Luca Martin, s'il vous plaît. Luca Wienmann, Luca Martin to your boxes immediately.
Damen nur 15:35 nach extra das letzte Rennen 2000 Elite Herren.
Hello then everyone, welcome to the UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic World Cup here from Lenzerheide in Switzerland. It's time to go racing with the under-23 men. One of the most hotly contested start lists of the year. My name's Rick McLaughlin. Joining me in the booth is Bart Brentjens. Bart, this
morning.
one could be fireworks, couldn't it?
Yeah, the man under 23, so fast on a course like this, fighting for a win.
A lovely day to go bike racing in Switzerland. It has just got somewhat overcast all of a sudden, and if you follow international bike racing, one of the clear signs that we may be in for a spot of rain is whenever cameramen start putting the covers on the cameras. That's going on as we speak. Here is Malakarn as the riders take to the start line. Luca Martin, the Orbea factory team, the French national champion. Can he be a factor today? Andreas Emanuele Vittoni for Italy. Luke Wiedemann, Thomas Maxon, one of the upcoming stars of under-23 men's cross-country racing. This man, though, the danger man today, Oliver Solvoy. Fans gathering here in Lenzerheide, having a good time, as well they might. Carter Woods, expected more of him last time out, 11th. Novomesto Namarave. Can he be right at the front of this one today? Well, some people less excited than others.
And we are.
Our commentary's obviously doing well today then, Bart. Here he is, then the winner of the short track for the Czech Republic.
And second last Thursday.
Adrien Boissy. Dario Lillo heads out to the line then in that distinctive blue and yellow kit. A young Swiss rider. Plenty of supporters here for him today.
132 riders.
Yeah, a big, big field today.
That's a big field. So 1 start lap plus 5. 6 laps. Tom Schellekes from the Netherlands, who finished third in Novomesto Namarave. Look at Tobias Lillelund from Denmark, strong rider too. Bjorn Rayleigh, Amos.
Luke Moyer from South Africa. And Gustav Hebby Pedersen.
Yep.
Under some pressure in the family bragging rights.
His sister won.
After that performance earlier on from his sister. But they're getting ready to go here in Switzerland. 1 minute's time before the off. Look at that field, Bart, stacked.
Yeah. Close together.
This starts. So they will head out onto a start loop first of all.
4.4 kilometers long, this course.
4.4 kilometers of absolute savagery. A tough race course here in Lenzerheide. As always, altitude will play a factor too.
1,500 meters elevation where we are.
30 seconds to go then. In the bike kingdom, Lenzerheide. So the lights have gone red and we will wait for them to go green. Once they go green, as they do now, we are racing at the UCI Mountain Bike Cross Country Olympic Under-23 men's race. And it's the Frenchman, Martin, who leads him up the top of the first climb into the start loop. And there's a crash deep in the pack. Well,
yeah, that's
almost
always
predictable.
what happened very quickly.
Never good if your
you
bike.
see the cranks
The cranks have come off.
Something.
The frame's given out. The bottom brackets come off the frame.
Wow, they have a lot of power, but so much.
I've never seen that bar. I mean, I've joked about it, but I've never actually done it.
Better not to show the brands.
No. There's a few marketing departments closing their eyes ahead of that one, but Martin is at the top of this one, and it's Lilo who's with him.
Yeah, look at Martin from France, the national champion.
So they will head out onto the start loop. The purpose of the start loop is to just try and thin out the pack as big as it is.
Yeah, like 3 riders next to each other. That's how wide this road is. So difficult for the riders as well to overtake each other on, even if it's a long climb like this.
Yeah, 4 or 5 of them at the front. Carter Woods in the national champions jersey off Canada there on the number 9 Giant. Right in the middle of your shot.
And see how many riders there are.
It's a serious field here.
29 different nations in this group. So the start lap is a bit different from the original lap. Now they go up till the bridge. That's the highest point of this lap. And then into the descent. 2 different lines over there. A little bit further. 2 options, left and right. And if they had chosen their line, they can't get back to the different line anymore.
Here they are.
So
2 options, line choices. You can see to the right-hand side there. That's the A line.
Here the bottleneck.
Oh, look at them shooting down these. So the B line to the right-hand side of your screen. It's a bit more circuitous, a bit more long-winded, but avoids that tricky right-left drop.
Yeah, and it has a lot of narrow sections, this course, where it's difficult for the riders to overtake each other. They have to stay in one line.
Now they head back up through this sort of meadowy section.
But a good start for Dario Lillo, who won the short track last Thursday.
Yeah,
Swiss rider.
Racing at home in Switzerland. Races don't get much bigger for him.
He's from the Davos area. Actually, the town, not that far from here. Home sole race for him. He did Tour de Romandie on the road. And now leading the race.
Down over this drop then. The course designed by Swiss cross-country legend Ralph Nath. The man himself, Luc Wiedemann, his team manager. I'm sure Ralph have been giving him some advice this morning over breakfast.
I think so, yeah. He's been riding with these riders on the course the last couple of days.
You were quick to point out on an e-bike earlier, whereas you yourself are out there without the help of battery assistance. That's important, Bart. Any bragging rights in the pits, essential. You see Solvoy just sitting up that distinctive style, the big Dean.
Yeah, but he had a crash last Thursday before the short track start. Actually, he had to went to the hospital for some stitches. I don't know where it was or necessary, but at least it wasn't a perfect day for him. He had to go to the hospital, but still a good race in the short track. But at least all these little things that cost a lot of energy for their body.
But still, when it comes to the men's under 23 racing, it would take a lot to dampen the enthusiasm and the energy of these young men.
And there's still a little bit
Here
of time.
is the crash again. It's just a right pile up, isn't it?
Yeah, because
you
of
can
that.
see where the crank should be.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh dear.
Never seen something like that.
Never seen a bike let go there before.
No.
Yeah, that is just about. I mean, there's no getting around to the tech zone of that, is there?
You can change everything on your bike except the frame, and in a case like that,
frame's gone. That's it.
Yeah.
Stick what's left of it in the van. Get on the road before the traffic hits. Pittoni then, the Italian in second place ahead of Martin.
Yeah, Andreas Pittoni, actually, he's in a great shape. He had a good race in Latuye in Italy a couple of weeks ago.
That's really an absolutely fantastic place to go mountain biking. Some incredible enduro trails
the
there.
course is one of the best courses I've ever seen.
One of the most terrifying days I've had on a bike came in La Tuile amidst the the Enduro World Cup trails there. So steep and just relentless. They just keep on going. You get through a really steep bit, you think, oh, that must be nearly it. No, you're not even halfway yet. But they build a good cross-country track there as well.
Yeah, they do a lot of investments to build a nice bike area, a lot of trails.
Yep.
Also for cross-country.
Out front of this one, it is the Swiss rider Lilo, the winner of the short track.
With Andreas Vitone behind him, KTM Pro Tech.
Won that short track race by 7 seconds as well, so wasn't hanging around from Adrien Boissy, excuse me. Carter Woods, the Canadian, was third.
But Dario Lilo, he did Tour de Romandie with the Road Tour team.
They're off and running.
It helped him a lot for a better performance right now these days.
Here you can see part of the issues when you do have as packed a field as this. One mistake from one rider can have the ripple effect that causes everyone else to be off and running.
Yeah. If you have to put a foot on the ground, everyone behind you have to do the same. So that's why the start is so important for these riders. But for Dario Lilo, it looks good right now. Ray Amos on the 7th place from the USA.
There's that awkward rock that we mentioned in the under-23 women's race. It's kind of a big boulder that actually getting onto it is the more difficult part of it. Getting down off it's fine. Gravity will do that for you, but very, very jagged edges. A lot of sort of chances to just tear a tire or pop some air out of a wheel. But no problem for these top men.
A group of 8. Closely together. Carter Wood is in that too. From Canada. Luca Martin, Adrien Boissy.
Carter Wood, someone that our colleague Josh Carlson reckons we haven't seen the best of yet. He reckons there's plenty more to come this season from Carter Woods.
And also the Czech rider, Zatlukal. Jan Zatlukal.
Jumps the whole bridge there, the Italian. You love to see it. You love to see it.
Entering the tech feeds. Actually, it's not obligated to take something. So you can also take it without any assistant or feeding. But Andreas Vitone, he took a bottle. Now leading.
He deserves to lead after jumping that whole bridge. I was really impressed with that. Let's see if he does it the next lap. He might have just arrived into it too fast and not had any options.
It's not that wide, actually, that bridge.
No, it's not.
Easily hit the side.
Yeah, that definitely. I definitely sort of checked the angles on that one, but he's obviously ridden it in practice and felt it was a goer.
Tom Skellican's on the 9th place. The guy who was in the white jersey, what you could see over the jump section, who finished 3rd last week. Good start for him today. Matthias Wilson from New Zealand, 11th place. And here we see again Dario Lilo, the transit lane, and then Andreas Vitone, the Italian rider.
I want to see him jump that bridge.
Different lines for these riders, but together again.
It is an awkward course here in Lenzerheide. As I mentioned earlier on, Kent Gallagher from Cannondale Factory Racing, technical coach, explained to me that when you're at race pace and you're up on top of all these routes, it rides well. But once the altitude and the energy starts to leave you, then you start to get hung up on the routes and it just becomes relentless and it's really, really awkward. Once you lose that speed, it's hard to get it back.
Ray Amos. There we have Jan Zatlukal. That's a group of 8 leading in this race, with the drone behind them.
Great to see the live drone shots in for these woods. It really gives you a sense of the speed they're traveling at and how rooty it is, as does this shot actually.
Over that big rock, these riders are taking the best lane in this corner.
Riley Amos, we saw him for Track Factory Racing really have a good dig at it in the Czech Republic, and it was actually mechanical, wasn't it? He lost a tyre.
Yeah, it was like that.
And you sort of thought that he had a lot more to give in that race. Maybe today we'll see him fulfill his full potential.
Adrien Boissy in this group too.
Apparently though, Riley Amos, he does have form for that. He does just go hard, and if the bike can't keep up.
That's Jan Zatlukal.
Pushing hard.
The Czech champion under 23.
So here is confirmation in for your top 10. Vitone from Lilo, Martin, Woods, Boishy, Johnson, Amos, Zatluka, Schelikens, Wiedmann. A lot of nations represented there. Nearly 800 individual riders listed for this UCI World Cup. A new record across all the formats. So mountain bike racing healthier than ever as they come down to take the line.
Yeah, and they're slowing down a little bit after that fast start. If they cross the finish line, 5 full laps to go. Different lap, the next one, the original lap.
The start-finish straight, just about the only place to take on a drink and actually have some time to do so.
Next to each other, no one likes to do the work.
5 laps to go as they turn up the lap proper, this climb. Oh!
Yeah. Different lines.
Different lines, nearly leading to disaster there. Boishy nearly getting caught up in that one.
Luke Wiedmann with Tom Schelikens here, the numbers 1 and 2 in the chasing group. And it goes fast.
Solvoy back in 11th at the minute. Further back than he might like.
Yeah, I mean, every little detail after that crash he had last Thursday. Went to the hospital, some stitches. It costs a lot of energy for their body too to recover of that, and
it's just uncomfortable, isn't it? And it adds up as well. You don't sleep properly. It just nags at you. It's getting changes awkward. And
everything has to be perfect. But it's still very early in the race. There's still some time. But the leading group is going fast. And Andreas Vitone, the Italian rider for the KTM Protec team, is showing his strength. Dario Lillo next to him. Luca Martel also looking strong. There'll be a factory team rider, the national champ from France. And Braden Johnson in this group too. Number 39 on his bike. But it's Luca Martel who's leading here.
Yeah, Martin looking good for this one.
Yeah.
But as I say, under 23 men's cross-country racing.
But he was also very strong in the short track last Thursday, especially in the beginning of the race. But now there's a small gap.
Yeah, under 23 men's cross-country racing. Let's just put this politely. Not the most predictable of mountain bike racing formats. These guys give absolutely everything. They roll the dice.
They do.
And if it works out, it works out. And if it doesn't,
they're stretching out the fields.
Well, put it this way. We saw a bike blown in half before it even got across the start line. So
Rayleigh Amos. Yeah, suffering.
Looks to be.
Luke Wiedmann is passing him over there in the red kit. Ole Rekdal from Norway in the green kit. Carton Woods, national champ from Canada. Third place.
Carter Woods, not unlike Oliver Solvoy as well, a big guy.
Yeah, he is. And Bryden Johnson behind him. 6th place for Bryden Johnson. These are the numbers 1 and 2.
What sort of rider does this course favour, Bart?
That's actually a good question. I mean, the climb is quite long. You need to be a strong climber. But after that, the course, it's more flat. It goes up and down. You need to have a lot of power.
Is it just about the engine?
The engine, yeah. You have to pedaling and pedaling quite hard with a lot of pressure all the time because the course is so bumpy, a lot of roots. But it's also a technical course, especially with such a high speed.
The top two really attacking that A-line descent. As you can see, not much grip up there.
Braden Johnson, the rider with the US kit, national team kit of the USA.
Yeah, so if you're new to cross-country Olympic mountain bike racing, courses like where we go, for example, next weekend in Leogang in Austria is all about climbing. Lots and lots of tough technical ascents. Other courses like Nova Mesto Namarave, where we were for round 1, really a bit more about the technical descent and the ability to make the time back amidst the rocks and routes of descents. But this track here in Lenzerheide, one big power-sapping climb to start with, and then really just kind of awkward throughout. There's lots of stuff on the ground, lots of routes that can just sap the energy, and we're at altitude, of course, 1,500 meters, Bart. That could make a big difference today.
Yeah, and also, if riders blew up, and it's easily done in the beginning of the race, they have to pay for it to recover from an altitude like this. It's very difficult. They will pay the price for that if it happened.
Yeah, high intensity racing, but part of the racecraft of cross-country racing is, as Bart says, being able to recover, and whenever there's not much oxygen about, that ain't easy. Lilo leads from Martin.
Yeah, they do, the numbers 1 and 2.
Switzerland versus France, national champions.
Yeah. Both very strong nations in cycling and mountain biking.
Yeah, France always so dominant in everything cycling, but Switzerland, they've owned cross-country Olympic racing for some time now. It's been a national badge of honor, and getting on the Swiss Olympic team almost more difficult than winning the actual Olympics.
It's now Adrian Bragi who is closing the gap. Andreas Vitone behind him, Carter Woods, Bryden Johnson on the 5th place, that is. 6th place, that is. Winding here in these turns.
Martin, great to watch through that.
Yeah, great to watch this. And after this, if they're entering the forest, that's that off-camera route section. Very hard to ride. Luckily it's dry and no problems for these riders, but they have been practicing a lot here.
This section, you reckon, Bart, is one of the most niggly, just power sapping bits?
It is. It's absolutely not an easy part. But when it's dry, it's okay, but in the wet, it's terrible to ride.
Terrible.
Almost impossible.
Almost impossible, yeah. We saw everybody off and running on it on the first lap.
Luca Martin now leading. Dario Lillo, Adrian Bragi.
Bragi has brought them back to them.
Yeah.
Johnson for the USA hanging in there in 6th.
Yeah, good ride for Bryden Johnson.
Yeah, strong start, but as we say with the altitude, it can all of a sudden hit you, can't you? It can catch up with you.
Yeah, but maybe he has done a good preparation, altitude training. Luc Wittmann, another Swiss rider on the 7th place.
Savoy in 14th.
Yeah, a little bit further down, 20 seconds off.
Hudima, Bart's rider from the Ukraine in 17th for KMC MTB racing team.
Also, he had a crash last Thursday on that bridge. There was a little bit of rain coming in during the short track, and the wooden bridge became so slippery. He was not the only one with that crash. Also, Rayleigh Amos, he was involved with a crash. And also, Luca Martin, actually, he had a crash too. A couple of riders, they went down and quit the race.
Yeah, it is part and parcel of being a professional mountain bike racer, is being able to take the rough with the smooth. It doesn't always go according to plan.
Different options over here for the riders to choose. And also an opportunity to overtake each other. These guys looking strong.
They are looking strong, Bart.
Group of 6. Bryden Johnson last of this group.
Now, we talked about this at the last round. It's obviously the big topic of discussion. 2 riders, 2nd and 3rd at the minute, in the fingerless gloves. The mitts, they're coming back into fashion, aren't they?
I don't know, actually, yeah.
Martin out front with a full-fingered glove.
Yeah, and then it's like the other style, it's more like road.
Yeah, well, they've come back into fashion, the mitts. I'm not sure if I'm there yet on them. I'd go full glove or no glove, I think.
I like the full glove.
Yeah, you've got to now, haven't you? It's just
full finger gloves.
They're so light now as well.
Yeah.
They're not like they used to be like goalkeepers' gloves back in the day, but they're so light.
The speed is high.
It is, isn't it? I just wonder.
Keep on going.
Yeah, very much a feature of under-23 men's cross-country races, the high tempo at the start.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to blink first. Just off the side of that drop.
Yeah, then there's a better angle actually for the next corner.
Yep.
And it's more straight coming into the next corner.
Jumping the bridge as well. Lilo into the tech feed zone now to get a bottle. Smooth changeover.
Luca Martin with the number 7 on his bike, pushing hard here.
Riding for the Orbea factory team.
New team this year.
Super pro setup though, Bart. The bikes look great, kit looks great.
It looks good, yeah. Bryden Johnson, the last rider from the US. Number 39 on his back.
6 riders on Loop 2 of 6 in this U23.
Oh,
Yep.
that is what happens.
And that's an insert. That pink tire, what you see, that's the insert of the. But still, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't always work.
No, not the right
You see
grade.
the tire insert there. It's a high-density foam inner tire, I guess, if you'd like to call it, that is designed to help absorb some of the impacts and to keep them off the rims of the bikes. But they're complicated to put in, and once they decide to jump out of the tires, that's pretty much it. You're not fixing it at the side.
Yeah,
of the
most
track.
of the time they will stay in actually.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah, but I mean sometimes the pressure on these wheels, on these tires, it's so high, and a lot, especially these off-camber sections.
And just as in downhill as well, we talked about it a lot yesterday, is that it can be hard to replicate race pace. You can get a bike set up nicely for, you know, for practice laps, but whenever the clock starts, whenever there's people around you, that pace can be higher.
We've seen already 2 weird things today. At the start, that broken bottom bracket.
Yeah, and we saw drop chain as well in the under-23 women's race,
Yeah,
which is quite a rare occurrence these days.
But only
itself.
these things we have seen, and here we see
God love me, still on the move.
Lexware rider running. Yeah. Try to find the tech feed zone, 2 tech zones on this course. So yeah, maximum 2 kilometers away out of each other.
There's Paul Schell for Lexware.
Yeah, not
German.
And also he had a crash on last Thursday short track, so unlucky here in Lenzerheide.
Yeah, he'll be looking forward to leaving Lenzerheide, I say, and focusing on next weekend, Leogang.
Luca Martin. Dario Lillo from Switzerland. He's living in Davos. That's close by.
Not a bad place to live either.
Also 1,500 meters elevation, that town. So he's used to ride in these conditions with the lack of oxygen.
Where we go to Leogang next weekend, Bart, what sort of altitude is it at compared to
800 it is. It's
800,
like
so
yeah, like a typical Austrian valley, I would say. Mountains around it over 2,000, but the valley it's 800 meters high.
So not the factor that it is here.
No, no.
I might be able to move around a bit easier. That's good.
Paul still running.
Still running. So the reason why he is running is that you can only get technical assistance in the tech feed zone, which if he'd done that on his way into the tech feed zone, wouldn't have lost him much time. But out on the course, you've only got one option, and that is to get all the way around again to get to that tech feed zone. As we just see the riders come on the start-finish straight.
Yeah, and they use this part of the course to have a drink, to take a gel, some food, some energy to them, which they need to have for the rest of the race. Yeah, interesting. 6 riders leading this race.
Martin leads them up the climb on that number 7, Orbea.
Andreas Fitone from Italy, the KTM rider. Strong ride.
I tell you what, Bart, Adrian Boischi is growing in stature and leaps and bounds in front of us. He won the short track in the Czech Republic in Novo Mesto na Morave and couldn't believe it. He didn't know how he'd done it. Now, out the front consistently in the under-23 men's cross-country Olympic.
But also last Thursday, second he finished, Adrian Boischi, very strong when it came down to the last few laps. So his sprint is phenomenal. Andreas Fitone now coming to the front next to Luca Martin. Next to him.
The Colombian rider Dana Franco's just gone past the commentary booth on a bike I've not seen before. Kind of almost looked like an old mountain cycle. So it obviously wasn't an old mountain cycle, San Andreas, but keen to see that one when he comes past again.
Riding closely together, these 6. Paul Schell still running. Oh, we see him all the time. And there he is at the tech zone. Another rider.
Another German rider in.
Another problem. Looks like the saddle went off or loose saddle.
I wonder if this is just a bit of a precursor to what we're going to see in the elite races later on this afternoon, Bart, in that we are seeing a couple of little technical difficulties creep in now. What are they going to do? Be new wheel into the back of this, but getting everything untangled. You can see the axle coming out. No quick release levers on these race bikes, of course. It is all about solid axles. Yeah.
Yeah, Allen key 6 they need to have to remove the true axle.
So as I say, big beefy, solid through axles in these race
Paul
bikes.
Schell, he's back on his bike, luckily. And he can start his race, he can continue his race.
But you got to have the bad days as well as the good days. That's where you do your learning.
And the race goes fast. Andreas Vitone now leading, Dario Lillo, Luca Marte, Adrian Bragi.
The chase group 21 seconds back, led by Luke Wiedemann, Bjorn Riley.
Yeah, the gap is there, these 21 seconds. It's not easy to close that. Luke Wiedemann, he was missing the start a little bit.
Such a massive field, 77 riders, 78 riders past our commentary booth at the start-finish line now. This field's still ticking by as the leaders are well out onto their lap.
Tom Schelkes 9th and Ole Rekdal from Norway now on the 10th place.
This section here, Bart, speaking as an average mountain biker, looks like great fun to ride. But with your heart rate through the roof, I guess, slightly
it's
less
more
so.
difficult.
It's more difficult, yeah, certainly.
Yeah, and these heart rates of these riders, they are through the roof. Strong guy, that Carter Woods from Canada.
Yeah, big, powerful unit, isn't he?
He is. Like Sam Gaze.
Like, no, I was just about to say, not unlike Sam Gaze, who we will see coming up later on today in the elite men's race. Is this a track that then it suits that bigger, powerful rider?
Yes, you have to be a very powerful rider on this course, but also because of that high altitude, you need to have your oxygen. And actually, I think the more muscles you have, the more muscles you have to feed with your oxygen. So yeah, that might be a problem. And
That's
that
true
big
as well.
climb over here.
There's no replacement for displacement, as they say. Whenever I ran this in the morning, I thought there was actually a line off that log and sort of gapping down the back of it, but I can see that may be a bridge too far whenever your heart rate's about 189, 190 beats per minute.
Carter Woods, you saw he put his dropper seat post down just for a better position when it came down to the drop.
Yeah.
And immediately up again to pedal and having the saddle on the right height.
And you can see how they carry the speed off that drop, up that next little incline and around the left-hander. Vitone still leads then from Lillo, Martin, Boischi, Johnson, Woods, Riley, Wiedemann, Schelkens and Trudler. So 34 seconds cover the top 10s, all to play for still. Martin just having to get out of the saddle and do a bit more work to keep Lillo within touching distance. I'm impressed with the Italian out front here though, Bart.
Yeah, but he's a strong rider, what I already said. He showed his strength in La Touille. It was last weekend actually, on Saturday. So he must be in a good shape. Italian champion under 23.
I was in La Touille at an enduro the same weekend that Italy won the football World Cup, and I've never seen scenes like it. It was guys diving through windows, smoke bombs going off. It was quite a thing to behold. It was an exciting time. But yeah, great place to go mountain biking if you ever get the chance to go to La Touille.
Probably Carter Woods. Yeah, Canada, of course, has terrain like this.
Yeah.
Everywhere. These routes. He's used to ride in these conditions. I'm not sure where he's living, but might be. Actually, Andreas Vitone, of course, he's not Italian champion. Yeah, otherwise, he would be wearing that jersey. The KTM Pro Tech rider.
Yeah, Carter Woods. He's an East Coaster. He's from Quebec, Cumberland, British Columbia, Quebec. So he splits his time. British Columbia, just about one of the best places you can go mountain biking on the planet Earth.
Whistler, that's these parts. Solveig, Oliver Solveig, we saw him with the #1 on his bike. 11th right now, 37 seconds off. What can he do? Can he keep his jersey? Alexander Houdima into that corner, the green jersey. Back to the leaders, Andreas Vitone leading. On the KTM bike, the full suspension bike for him.
Yeah, KTM obviously a massive mark when it comes to off-road motorcycles, but also
in cyclists too.
In cycling, they've been at it for some time. They're actually two separate companies.
They are, yeah.
Strangely enough.
But placed in the same village.
In the same village, yeah.
And separate companies.
Do you know how I know that? The first ever press trip I was ever sent on as a mountain bike journalist was to the KTM factory.
Yeah.
They make some nice bikes.
But using the same name, and everybody knows.
It's a big brand recognition, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Over the big rock. And this is the chasing group with Luke Wittmann. Alex Malakane behind him, and then we have Oliver Solveig with the #1 on his bike. Finn Truttler, Ole Rekdal.
Chase group then, led by Wiedmann.
Well, a little bit of a mistake of one of the riders. Some big rocks in that inside corner.
Lap 3 out of 6 here in Lenzerheide Bike Kingdom.
Let's see what Andreas Vitone will do on the bridge.
Yeah.
He has been jumping it before.
Just sort of half jumps and half manuals it.
Manuals, yeah.
Through the tech feed zone now. They all more or less, apart from Boischi, come.
Yeah.
Hydration so important at altitude.
It is, yeah, especially here on altitude. But also the hydration has some energy in it too for these riders, also necessary to take to them. You see it most of the time at just before the finish line, where they take most of the time a drink and also a gel. But that group is working well together.
Braden Johnson's hanging in there as well, Bar.
Yeah, Braden Johnson, really nice ride of him today so far.
Riding in the US, the jersey of USA Cycling.
And this is that big rock where we have been talking about.
So easy to come a cropper on this. It's actually the other side of it, that getting up onto that bit is where I think the actual danger is. I identified earlier on, that's where I would have the crash. Yeah, USA Cycling, of course, relocated to Bentonville to help develop that mountain bike program even further. Bentonville, just Disneyland for trail riding by the sound of it. I've not been out there myself yet, but by all accounts, a town
spending a lot of money into the sport.
Money, yeah, a lot of money.
Building trails everywhere.
Literally everywhere. I think the whole town's basically built around a trail, isn't it?
They had the World Championship Cyclocross 2 years ago.
Yep, certainly somewhere that seems to be somewhere we're only going to talk more and more about, I think. USA Cycling being based there as well.
I expect to have a World Cup cross country over there in a few years' time too.
It would not surprise me in the slightest.
This group of 6 still riding very closely together. Different lines.
Seems like, yeah, they're just sort of sizing each other up now a little bit. Bart sitting in a bit. They've got 3 of that pack behind them.
Luca Martin now on 5th place. And Carter Woods here, the Canadian champ, 6th. The last rider of that group.
But it is the Italian out front doing the work.
Yeah, there's a lot of work today. And Dario Lillo, most of the time, very well placed. Second place.
How do you rate Dario Lillo then in terms of talent? He certainly seems to be a young man making a big name for himself.
Yeah, he does. He's what we already said. He's living in Davos, so on the same elevation as Lenzerheide is. That will help him already. He did Tour de Romandie on the road with Road Tour team.
Yeah, we are seeing more and more top road riders coming from a mountain bike background, just because I guess the bike handling's there. If you can handle a bike down the side of a mountain,
it helps you so
helps.
much. Yeah, yeah. And I think a mountain bike rider has everything in it. You must be a good climber. You need to have the bike skills, positioning in a big group.
You only have to look at. I'm gonna drop the name now. Tom Pidcock. What he can do on a road bike comes from that confidence on a mountain bike to a large degree.
Or Mathieu van der Poel in Paris-Roubaix.
Well, that segues me on perfectly, Bart, to the news. Mathieu van der Poel going to race UCI World Championships in Glentress in Scotland later in the year.
The bullet went through the church.
The bullet went through the church as you text me. I had no idea what you were talking about, but I really like the saying.
I can only translate it like that. The kogel then. The kogel is door de kerk. If I translate it directly, the bullet went through the church. So the decision is made.
I asked Bart what that meant, and he told me the decision is made. And I said, you start firing guns in the church, it definitely sounds like the decision is made. But huge news for cycling fans that we're going to see Van der Poel on a mountain bike again.
And probably also Andorra Leger are in his mind to do as well. But yeah, of course, the Olympic Games next year in Paris, that's definitely something what he likes to win. But before that, he has to qualify, he has to do some races, acting on the highest level. And yeah, it's nice to see him participating in World Championships. But for him, it will be a difficult one.
It's tough.
Yeah, he has to start from the far back end.
A superstar, of course, on the road, but he loves mountain bike racing. Mathieu
He
van der
loves to
Poel,
ride
doesn't he?
his mountain bike, yeah.
Here we go then. You get to see some of the shots of the effort involved.
And the terrain, the roots, how hard this course is.
Yeah, just a little weather update for you. There's dark clouds still hanging just to the west of the circuit here in Lenzerheide. Wonder if they will make their way across for the elite races.
Yeah, not that much sunshine actually. This morning we had even more.
Yeah, we have more
Now it's
sunshine this
cloudy.
morning, but it is actually perfect for bike racing at the minute, isn't it? Nice and cool, not too cold.
These six close together.
Yeah, so they come up this.
Testing each other. They have been testing each other. Now looks like they're slowing down a little bit.
They really come up this long soul-sapping asphalt climbing in that hard right 180-degree corner, as you can see, back onto the dirt for this uphill bermed section.
So the fastest lap time 12:23.
Looks like it'd be lovely to ride down that. Not so much fun to ride up it, but Boischy.
Very, very hard
third place.
Oliver, that's Gustav Pettersen, the number 41 on his bike. National champ from Denmark. That's Oliver Solveig, the number 1 on his back. What I said, he had a small crash on Thursday, has got some stitches, and now around 7th place already, 23 seconds off.
I wonder if that crash has maybe just stymied Solveig slightly. But 7th place.
Yeah, but I mean,
bad.
23, it's also very consistent. Let's have a look to his lap times. Yeah.
John?
5 seconds faster than the leading group, actually.
Okay, so Solveig could be coming back to join these guys quite soon.
And it looks like now a group of 4. Luca Martin, Carter Woods are struggling with the high speeds of these riders. Or did one of them make a little bit of a mistake in that descent that we haven't seen?
Johnson's still there, isn't he? Clinging on the American. There he is, coming into shot now in the blue jersey.
Bryden Johnson.
Looking very strong.
Luca Martin, Carter Woods, here we are. Dario Lillo, Andreas Fitone.
You can see how close their hands get to that log.
Johnston.
Their right hands just tip around that big log on the inside of that turn. Really, really well-built track here in Bike Kingdom Lenzerheide.
Yeah, Luca Marté struggling with the high speed.
Through this meadowy section now, a bit of a straight line now towards the drop.
That's the second tech zone where you see all the wheel backs laying into the grass.
So 8 seconds now. Martin and Woods moving backwards by 31 seconds. Back to Malakar and Wiedmann.
Ulla Rekdal here in the green jersey.
Just watching the bikes coming past the window of the commentary booth. Pretty much clean as well, not much mud out there on the circuit. Yeah. Track holding up well here in Lenzerheide actually. We had some moisture earlier on in the week and it seems to have just glued things together nicely.
Yeah, spectators enjoying.
Yeah, dogs always enjoy everything.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of dogs, man.
Yeah, Dario Lilo is pushing hard, right?
Lilo and Vitone. Washi in close attendance.
But if it comes down to a sprint finish, Adrian Bragy is one of the fastest. He's on third place right now. He's hanging on.
He's a smart sprinter as well. It's not necessarily all about power. He knows when to go.
Saving his energy right now, not doing too much work into this race. One of the youngest riders in this group here, second year in the 23.
Off that rock, down through these nice fast flowing turns. Chance to recover for the good bike handlers, which they all are.
It's Carter Woods now who is on 5th place. Overtook Luca Marté, who's struggling with the high speed.
You can see just the difference in the line there, just 6 inches to the left and you're out on the braking bumps. And there's a lovely, almost blue groove forming right at the bottom of it where you can just hook the bike into, enjoy some free speed.
You see Carter Woods is coming back. Because Luca Marté, who's dropped back a little bit. Does he have a technical problem?
I wonder.
Yeah, it might be a soft rear tire, what I saw, but
well, we did.
He's suffering with this, with the high speed.
We saw Sam Gaze, of course, come a cropper in the short track, take out Nino Schurter on Friday evening, where that front tire just let go on a bit of gravel on the asphalt as they turned left up the climb. These cross-country race bikes, they run such low tire pressures that there's loads and loads of grip until there isn't.
Yeah.
And then it's gone. There is no getting it back.
Yeah, I mean, actually, sometimes the tires are even, well, it's more slippery on the asphalt than it is in the gravel for these riders. They're not used to take the asphalt on such a high speed. They have a better feeling when it comes down on gravel or like off-road.
Yeah, they're sort of, they're all at sea.
Ulla Rekdal, KMC.
Going well, Bart?
Yeah, it's going well. Good ride, 12th place. Ulla Rekdal.
What's his speciality, Liam? What sort of course really suits him?
A course like this, yeah. Powerful rider he is. Very strong in short track too.
Through the Red Bull Roots and Rules section.
First row start he had in Nova Mesto and Morava. But he was struggling a little bit last Thursday with the altitude, the elevation, so he blew up a little bit in the beginning of the race and he had to pay for that.
I think that's completely
Now he's more used to it already since the team has been here in the beginning of the week.
How many days do you need to be at altitude to be used to it?
It depends a little bit which elevation you are.
Okay.
1,500 is not super high, but if you do altitude training, at least the first week actually, you have to be very careful with the intensity training, what you are doing.
I always notice myself, the first couple of nights sleep is when it affects me.
Yeah,
I don't really sleep those first couple of nights.
Not good at all, huh? That's how it is.
No, not much altitude about County Down in Northern Ireland where I'm from, but
Carter Woods came back to the leading group.
Carter Woods has made his way across,
The Canadian champ. Bryden Johnson in front of him.
Still Johnson hangs in there.
Yeah.
Having a great day.
Andreas Vitone, the KTM rider, KTM ProTech Electro System.
Yeah, not just taking as much air across that bridge as he did on lap 1. I think he maybe arrived into that a bit faster than he anticipated.
But they're all taking gels, they're all taking their bottles.
You can see all the tech zone there to the right-hand side, all the spare wheels.
Lilo
moves to the front.
Yeah, taking the lead. And you see Luca Martin.
Johnson throws the back end out. Why not? He's enjoying himself.
These guys are pushing high.
They really are, aren't they? Cracking on at the front.
Moment there of our group that is now 5 strong at the front. And Dario Lilo has put the pressure on. We saw
Fastest lap of the race currently belonging to Luca Martin at 12:22. And lap 2. No surprising that it came right at the start.
Yeah, he's slowing down just a little bit, but the lap times are almost similar every time again.
I'd say we'll see that record go over the next couple of laps, Bart. Tends to be the way with cross-country racing, a high early pace to get yourself into some clear air, and then towards the end of the race, the business end of things, the times start to tumble again, don't they?
But the conditions are perfect.
13 seconds ahead of Martin, that current holder of the fastest lap record.
Luca Martin on 6th place, 13 seconds off. There's nothing in between these 5 riders. I think Carter Woods, he was behind Luca Martin when the speed went up, and he had to wait for a good place to overtake Luca Martin, but now he's back in the lead with these other 4.
Haven't really seen him impose himself at the front of it, have we, though? Be interesting to see if now he starts to sort of ride and gets past Johnson and starts to sort of make his presence felt towards the front of it. Another man you would fancy to have a decent sprint on him should it come to it.
Could be, yeah. But definitely it will change in the next few laps. It goes fast, this race. And mostly we have seen Andreas Vitone and Dario Lilo who's doing the work. These two. Luca Martin, of course, he did that as well in the first few laps, but he dropped back now a little bit. Yeah, you see here a little bit of a berm where they've tried to find a grip. Fast cornering. And that's the steepest part of the first big descent. The slippery part with a little bit of water still coming out of the mountain.
Yeah, we think that's must be sort of a localized little water source or something, or little spring or something, because it's the only really damp place on the track. But as luck would have it, it's at the steepest bit as well.
It is. Probably it's designed
oh no!
like that.
Oh no! Do you know what? He's not let go of the bike.
Whoa! You see, he's sliding down.
I'm generous. I don't think it's a crash if you haven't let go of the bike.
Carter Woods a little bit off, but time to relax, time to stretch his back, and that's what he's doing.
Relax. Everything's relative, but
they do it
2 laps
every time again here on this part of the course. 2 laps to go.
Yeah, chance to sit up, stretch the back out for Carter Woods. The front ends on these cross-country race bikes now so low as well. They sit in such an aggressive position on them.
Yeah, I mean, they are, I wouldn't say aerodynamic, but you need to have your weight a little bit on the front wheel for better traction. If your weight is too much on the rear wheel, then there's no pressure on your front wheel, and the pressure on your front wheel gives you the grip in the cornerings.
Fascinating to see, though, the cross-country race bike geometry. That's the angles of the frame. They've got so much more aggressive over recent years. You know, the downhill race bikes, the front axle's kicked out really far in front of the rider, and it's something that's trickling down because, as I say, Nino Schurter, Jolanda Neff, they've proven over the years that you can make seconds on descents, and that's important too, not just climbs.
Yeah, and that's also why everyone is on a full suspension bike to go fast in the descent. 120 millimeters of suspension is more common than maybe 100 millimeters even these days.
They're like a fast trail bike now, aren't they, as opposed to what we would have known as a cross-country race bike.
Also, Jolanda Neff, she's on a top fuel of track.
Not the Super Caliber.
Not Super Caliber, no. So the Super Caliber has less travel compared to the top fuel.
What do you think we'll see from Yolanda Neff later on today, Bart? Because she didn't really feature much in the short track. Was she keeping her powder dry, maybe ahead of the Olympic
Yeah,
racing?
but I mean, with Yolanda, you never know, huh?
You never know, yeah. I don't think she knows.
No, that's how it is. But she might be in for a good race. I mean, short track, it's not the same like cross country.
There is that bike I mentioned earlier on, the Colombian rider on. Really interesting.
Alexander Hodima is coming next to us in the commentating booth.
On the
that crash last Thursday.
There's Martin.
On the 6th place.
6th place, not looking quite as bullish as he was at the start of this one.
But he's coming back, looks like that, yeah. Oh, they're slowing down.
What are the tactics at this stage in the race, Bart, with 2 to go? What do you want? Do you want to size up the people around you? Are you sort of taking stock of who's there?
Yeah, I mean, I think the speed is high, so and no one likes to really going too early into this race. Not like to blow up that early. And if the riders they stay too long together, but the group is actually too big.
Would you throw an attack in here at this stage to try and thin it out a bit?
Not yet. No. There's still plenty of time. Yeah, you have to use your strength, your weapons, what you still have. If it comes down to a sprint, maybe Adrian Brochet, he's one of the fastest. I can imagine also Carter Wood, for example, if it comes down to that last part of the course where there's a lot of roots, he can use that.
Carter Woods has some firepower as well, so.
And now it's Bryden Johnson who likes to be in the first place when it comes down to the descent.
Yeah, why not?
So let's have a look at him, how fast he is.
In the form of his life here today.
Yep. Sprinting.
Do you know what, Bart, as well? If you're going to have a good race, do it at a UCI World Cup in front of all the big team managers. That's the place to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where you have to do it. And also for these guys, yeah, the World Cups, the highest podium to perform.
It is the top drawer of international mountain bike racing. And Braden Johnson is having himself a time out there. Oh, look at Martin. Just a bit clumsy into that right-hander, maybe just pushing that little bit hard, trying to get back in contact.
Yeah, I mean, the leading group is still envisioned for him. It will motivate him a lot. Bryden Johnson.
Yep, they're all one by one trying to keep them in sight.
Five different nationalities leading this race. But look at Martin on the 6th place from France. Now we have Brazil, so the first 7 in this race. 7 different nationalities.
Yeah, there's never been a better time for international mountain bike racing. It truly is international these days, isn't it? It's an incredible sport, Bart, given that it's mountain biking differs in every single country in the world of what people ride, what they enjoy riding, what their trails are like, and they come together at the UCI Mountain Bike World Series and they all race together all over the world, and still the margins are so fine, they come down to fractions of a second.
Yeah, that's how it is. And it's already happened from the start. The start has to be perfect.
Old Dirt Magazine editor.
Tom Schellekens from the Netherlands, and the number 5 on his back.
And legend Mike Rose famously said once that mountain biking is like a cheese sandwich. Everyone's got a different idea of what goes into it, but still they all come together at the UCI Mountain Bike World Cup. Johnson now leads from Lillo.
Yeah, Andreas Vitone is pushing hard again.
Vitone, Boischet, Carter Woods, 5 seconds.
Woods a little bit off.
Yeah, you can see him just in the shot there off that drop. You kind of feel that if Carter Woods wants to be involved in the conversation at the end of this one, he needs to start making his way forward slightly.
Probably this part of the course will suit him better than the big climb. With the roots. Yeah. Adrian Brochet is in front of him, but also he is struggling with the speed of Andreas Vitone from Italy.
I wonder if Vitone is just starting to twist grip a wee bit here now.
And also the riders getting exhausted, of course, when it comes down a little bit, an hour mark almost.
Yeah, 54 minutes into this one of going as fast as possible.
Now they will feel it in their legs. But Bryden Johnson is still looking good to me.
Is it hard to separate the brain from the legs and just ignore the pain?
They try to ignore the pain, of course, but yeah, that's it. It comes together. Definitely a mental game always, what plays a big role in racing.
And it's tough as well because the brain, like everything else in the body, functions on oxygen, and whenever there's not much oxygen around...
No, but also the brain, they need oxygen to function well.
Maybe that's what I'm doing wrong, yeah. Baton, Lillo, Judson and Boishy, Woods and Martin. 24 seconds, cover the top 6, but it is from the top 5.
And Alex Malacana from Brazil, the number 20 on his back. Here he is.
Malacana, 42 seconds back. Wiedemann, somebody that we thought might be further forward in this one. 51 seconds back for Thomas Maxon.
Yeah, look, Wiedemann, I think he missed the start completely in the beginning. 8th place, he is now.
This is shaping up perfectly.
Yeah, Finn Trudler riding for the Brunex Superior Factory Racing team.
There is Heavy Pettersson in 10th.
Yeah.
Brother of Sophie Heavy Pettersson.
More than a minute back.
I think Sophie Heavy Pettersson would probably race in the Leah Gang tonight if she had the option. She was in that good form.
It's not that far away from here. Most of the teams, they will travel tomorrow and build up their team area again in the next few days.
Are you making the drive tomorrow?
Tomorrow morning.
With the team, yeah?
Yeah, and then try to build everything tomorrow night or tomorrow late afternoon, that it's ready tomorrow night.
I'll turn up once you get that coffee machine on.
You're welcome.
Once the coffee machine turns on, I'll be there. Let me know when she's warmed up.
Maybe we can go for morning rides.
Yeah, we've been threatening to do this, Bart and I, to go on a bike ride together. I think he's massively overclubbing things of what he's expecting from myself, but we'll see.
Josh Carlson, he joined us one of the days a few days ago.
Josh Carlson still getting over that bike ride. We'll talk more about that in the elite races. I've got some bones to pick with you on that one, but 56 minutes in and it's still anyone's race at the front of this. The Italian Baton looks over the shoulder. Lillo looks over the shoulder. Still hard to pick a winner, Bart.
It's really hard to say, yeah, it's true. You see sometimes a little bit of a gap in between the riders when the speed goes up. But immediately they're coming back together, so yeah, there's not that much in between these 5.
Over the bridge, who is going to go into the tech feed zone?
And that makes it so interesting to watch these races.
Great aerial shot here as they come in, grab a bottle. All of those bottles measured out to the milliliter.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And yeah, you see as well, most of the riders, they throw it away immediately. They don't like to take it with them, but on that start-finish area, that's a good place to have another extra drink. Big jump.
Brian Johnson throwing the whips out. I guess just a bit of mental stimulation. You're enjoying yourself, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Tom Pidcock in Czech Republic, he was certainly enjoying himself and he threw his whips out.
Especially if the fans are there on the next to the course.
Just getting the bike sideways in the air.
They look back over the shoulder for Dario Lillo. But everyone is still there. Brian Johnson, Carter Woods, Adrian Bragi. Especially this part of the course where they are right now, when it comes down to the last lap, the positions are really important. It has a lot of turns, this part. Overtaking is not that easy at all. And when it comes down to sprint, the long sprint, then the positions are really important.
Yeah, you can see just a carpet of routes there. And how much energy, it takes out of these athletes.
It does, yeah. It's a very annoying course actually to ride on these routes all the time. It absorbs so much energy from your body. But the bikes, of course, the full suspension bikes, big volume tires, the riders are using too.
But as you say, it's all energy, isn't it? It's all energy moving things around, going through the body, going through the bike.
Yep.
Relentless. I think that's maybe the best word for this Lenzerheide course, relentless. It never gives up at you. It never gives you a break.
Relentless.
It just keeps on chipping away.
It is 23 seconds off for Luca Martin, 37 for Alex Malacana from Brazil. But these 5.
Fastest lap now belonging to Dario Lillo. Lap number 2 with 12:18.
Yeah, he was pushing hard, you could see that. And then immediately, riders, they have to pay the price for that. Luca Martin, he dropped off. He was in the leading group for the first few laps.
There we go, some people doing some good race prep. The barbecue's getting ready, they're getting in place for the elite level races.
Yeah, a long day of racing.
What do you think, Bart? Will that barbecue be anywhere near the booth? Will we get a burger or two thrown in or
they
something?
promised us to.
That's the next level up, as we get a barbecue in here and just some salads and some wraps. Be very enjoyable.
Some smoke.
Yes, yeah, the smoke mightn't be ideal right enough, but yeah, no, the Swiss fans lining the tracks here in Lenzerheide during the elite level cross-country Olympic races. One of the big days in the calendar, and they are now starting to assemble.
And this is that new section on the highest point of the course.
One to go when they cross the line after this one. And then someone is going to have to make the decision as to who wants to win it.
Now it's getting serious. Really serious.
Really serious. Here we go.
Final lap. And again, riders slowing down. They take their energy to them.
This is cross-country racing at its best. When it comes down to a big group on the last lap.
And our mark now. Final lap.
Here we go. Get ready for a slugfest.
5 leaders. Adrian Brachy on 4th place. And we have
Carter Woods is right back with them in the Canadian jersey at the back of the pack. Fitton leads him up that little climb.
Yeah, and here is Luca Marte. Still in vision.
Still in
the
vision.
leading group for him.
Just noticed a couple of times we've seen Martin just slightly untidy in a couple of places, and I wonder if that's just fatigue beginning to settle in. The Brazilian Malacarne crosses the line.
Also for Alex Malacarne, he's coming back a little bit, 37 seconds it has been. He gained 12 seconds back, but that's probably because these slow down a little bit. Testing each other at the bottom of the last climb.
Braden Johnson in that dark blue jersey off the US. He's still with them. Could today be his day? He's looked good throughout. He's thrown the back end out over all the jumps, which cements him amongst the bike racing fans. But crucially,
Andreas Fitone now leading out of the saddle.
Looking.
Yeah, looking back over his shoulder. There's still some time. But you have to use your own strong weapons, what you have in mind. There comes Adrian Brachy to the front with the number 3 on his bike. Trinity team, he's riding specialized bike.
Brachy, a stylish rider, really flamboyant, great sprint on him. I wonder if he's just going to move the front, maybe try and soften him up so he finds out who he has to beat in that sprint.
The French guy, he became world champion as a junior last year junior, so this is his 2nd year on the 23. And now leading the race.
Bart, if this is you, what position do you want to be in on this last lap?
2nd, 3rd would be still good.
Yeah, you want to just be keeping an eye around you, but not necessarily dictating the pace, I guess?
No, not necessarily dictating the pace, but Adrian Brachy is pushing hard for the first time this. You see here he's sprinting to the top. Bryden Johnson has to pay the price for that, a small gap.
Yeah, gritting the teeth.
Yeah.
Really flat on the bike, Johnson, back almost horizontal.
But Andreas Fitone, no problems for him with the speed. Also Dario Lilo on 3rd place.
So 25th rider has just crossed the line in front of us, and he's 2 minutes 22 back. Gives you an idea of how hard this group at the front has pushed.
Lilo on 2nd place.
Carter Woods is the next in the drop zone.
No, but I mean, he's still there.
He's still there.
We expect him to be a bit stronger on the 2nd part of the course, the part behind this big climb.
Johnson, the shoulders rocking and rolling now, a wee bit sucking air through the teeth.
But also still, he's still in touch with them.
He is, yeah, he's riding his way back onto them. Martin, not a million miles off either, the Frenchman.
16 seconds, but he's suffering.
Yeah, you
can see his body weight to go forwards.
Rolling around on the bike a wee bit.
Adrian Brachy. How fast can he be in this technical part?
Look how flat Johnson is on the bike, really. horizontal. Washi, really nice rider to watch as well, Bart. Nice technical style.
Yeah. But actually, all these 5, they have the style like that. Or these 6. Braden Johnson from the USA.
On the Trek Super Caliber.
Alex Malacana from Brazil.
On the
Luca
Specialized
Marte, he must be in front of him still on 6th place. So Alex Malacana, he's on 7th place.
There's Widman. Washi cracking on at the front now.
Yeah. And you see here a small gap to Carter Woods. But this is still quite early in the last lap to push that hard.
It's early in the last lap, but we're starting to see the finish line being prepared in front of our commentary booth, because there is going to have to be a winner at the end of this one.
Yeah, and probably Adrian Brachy, he likes to be in the first position when it comes down to the more technical parts of this course, that off-camber wood sections, which will come very quickly right now.
Washi growing in stature with every turn of the cranks this year. A win in the cross-country Olympic. It's just a ticket for him.
Sprinting to the top of these little climbs all the time, these riders. Andreas Vitone tried to overtook Dario Lilo, but it didn't happen now.
No, Washi dropping back. Lilo.
This is an attack of Lilo. They're still close together, these 5. It will be a long sprint this last lap.
Yeah, the whole last lap, pretty much a sprint.
It is probably the fastest lap time.
This is what happens whenever you ride together as a big group. Come the last lap, somebody has to turn the screw. No, Lilo's been brought back in again by Vitone.
Andreas Vitone. 2nd place behind Dario Lilo. Then we have Adrian Brachy, Carter Woods, and Bryden Johnson.
Vitone is really impressed in this race, Bart, hasn't he? The Italian.
He does, yeah. Actually, he's doing it from the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, in the blue and white jersey.
KTM rider. With the number 15 on his bike. Andreas Vitone now 2nd place behind Dario Lilo. Six seconds in between these 5. Dario Lilo is looking strong.
Dario Lilo, the winner of the short track on Friday evening.
Can he do the same?
Fancy's doing the double. Just building and building this little gap.
Yeah, Sophie Pettersson, she did also the double.
Yep.
Well, no, actually, no, she didn't do the double. It was Sophie, she finished 4th. Sophie Pettersson, she finished 4th. Yeah, Blocklinger. Sorry for that. No.
It's all right, Bart. We keep each other right in here.
Maybe Dario Lilo, he can do it, maybe. But it's not over yet.
Tom Pidcock, of course, in the Czech Republic, did the double. Increasingly hard to do in cross-country racing, but Lilo, 2 seconds now from Vitone.
He's pushing hard now.
He is. And if they want to bring him back, they need to start doing it soon.
It looks so much easier riding on these trails when you go fast.
I'm sure very little of it feels easy at the minute for these top under 23 men riders. Carter Woods still there.
But there's a little bit of a gap.
Braden Johnson against all odds is in 5th still.
2 seconds between Dario Lilo and Andreas Vitone with
the wind picking up here.
Wow, clicked out of his pedal. Oh. Drop a seat pull, and that's not the best place to click out of your pedal.
On the Scott Spark bike, a race-proven chassis by none other than Nino Schurter. Kate Courtney. Both riders in action later on this afternoon in the elite class.
A little bit of a mistake of Andreas Vitone. That's why they try to overtake him. It looks like he has a problem. I don't know what. At least he slowed down too much.
Yeah, I just saw one of them behind him forcing their way past.
Yeah.
Because they realise that this could spell danger now. Lilo could be riding his way to a win here.
That looks much better for him right now.
Lilo off the drop.
The gap is getting bigger.
Safely does it over this bridge. Yeah. And now he taps the power on. Lillo smells a win here. 7 seconds back now. There's 7 seconds between him and Vitoni. Boissy, Woods and Johnson. Roared on by the Swiss crowd. This would do just the trick to whet the appetite ahead of the elite races. Checks over the other side of the track.
Seconds.
Carter Woods in the second now.
Yeah.
Carter Woods has kept the powder dry, and it's him in front of Boissy.
Yeah, something must have been going wrong with Andreas Vitoni. We saw that, but we didn't see it in detail.
Something has happened to Vitoni somewhere along the lines.
Vitoni on 5th place now. It just happened after that big rock. The riders had tried to overtook him over there, but that didn't happen very quickly. So that's why the gap is a bit bigger for Dario Lillo at the moment.
Yeah, 16 seconds back now, Vitoni. What a shame, the guy who did so much of the work early doors here.
Carter Woods 2nd place, but there's still a bit of time. Carter Woods, here he is, 2nd place.
Carter Woods, if he can get Lillo...
Adrian Brachy, even he's not that far off.
If he can get Lillo back within striking range.
And then we have Bryden Johnson. Struggling here with the pace.
Let's just see, jump on board for this drone shot now. This will give us an exact idea of how far away these two are at the front of this one. Carter Woods will fancy reining Lillo in for a good go at him in the sprint finish, but Lillo can't sprint. He's won the short track on Friday evening. It's not his first rodeo when it comes to that. Woods checks over the shoulder.
There's nothing in between these two.
Now he's out of the saddle. The big Canadian swinging at it.
That's the difference. A few back lengths only. Is it enough? It's not that far anymore.
It's really not.
It comes down to a sprint.
I think it might do, you know, unless there's disaster somewhere along the line. 3 seconds, yep.
Switzerland against Canada.
The national champions of Switzerland and Canada about to go toe-to-toe here by the look of it, bar to bar, pedal to pedal. Which one is going to have the reserves of horsepower left in the tank?
Yeah, there's still a few bike lengths in between, but there's still an opportunity for Carter Woods.
Do you think Lillo missed his opportunity to get clear, Bart?
I don't know if that was the reason. They're going so fast, they're going flat out. They know as well there's not that much time left anymore.
No.
Coming into the start-finish arena.
Yeah, the photographers and the filmers, they're all amassed just after the start-finish line now, getting ready to receive these two into the stadium.
Next to the deck to the team area.
Here they come. You can see the moto that clears the path for them out
There's a little
front.
bit of a gap, but almost nothing in between.
Oh,
and it's an uphill sprint finish.
It is slightly uphill to the line. It is a sprint finish, both of these men.
But they are both very exhausted. Very exhausted,
But
believe me.
Carter Woods, has he boxed clever? He's been further back than Dario Lillo throughout. But the head's down. Has he got what it takes as they come into the finish area now? The national champion of Switzerland sees the national champion of Canada behind him. Can Carter Woods close the gap? Or is it going to be Dario Lillo? Dario Lillo looks over his shoulders. He's done enough. The Swissman wins at home in Switzerland at the second round of the UCI mountain bike cross-country Olympic under-23 men's World Cup race. What a race by Dario Lillo. We wondered if Carter Woods could do enough, but Bart, he just dipped the head slightly before the bridge, and it kind of spoke volumes, didn't it? He didn't have enough when it came to the line.
What a finish it was. Adrian Brachy on 3rd place.
3rd place to Boissy, what could have been? Johnson rewarded a superb ride in 4th. Luca Martin crosses the line. 5th, the Frenchman for Orbea celebrates with Boissy just in front of our booth here, but there is the winner, Lillo. Can't believe it. There is the emotion.
What happened with Vitoni?
Vitoni has had a big issue out there somewhere, because that's the Brazilian now.
Now, yeah, that's Brazilian on 6th.
Malakarn.
So Vitoni, probably he had a flat tire or something like that. On the timing screen, we see him on the 9th place. We haven't seen him at the finish line right now. That's Luc Wittmann coming in. Another Swiss rider.
Yeah, grits the teeth.
7th place for Luc Wittmann.
Maybe not overly impressed with that one, but that man is Lillo.
Dario Lillo.
You are seeing two of the big stars of cross-country racing in the future there.
Petersen, Gustav Petersen.
Yep.
Good ride.
He'll be buying dinner tonight for the Pedersens. Sister Sophie Heby taking the win. U23 women's earlier on today.
Finn Tüttler, another Swiss rider, strong finish for him, 9th place. There was Andreas Fitone.
Dario Lillo has
We don't know exactly what went wrong.
Let's have a look at the bike.
It must have been a technical problem.
Let's have a look and see what he looks at when he gets off the bike.
Or did he have a crash? No, I don't think so.
No, he's shaking his head and holds his head in his hands.
Shame. He was so strong. So strong he was.
Mechanic staring down at the back wheel. I wonder if it was a free hub or something's gone, you know.
Could be. Could be.
Yeah, it seems to be turning the gear.
Almost in a winning position. Tom Schellekens. Ole Rekdal 11th place. Tom Schellekens 12th.
Out of the window of our commentary booth, Dario Lillo has just ridden himself down into position for the post-race interview in tears. That's what it means to him.
Dario Lillo, he took the win here in Lenzerheide. There was nothing in between the numbers 1 and 2. Here is the 2nd place.
Carter Woods looks like he's been in a boxing match, not a bike race.
You see it even dusty outside on the course.
It is dusty, isn't it? They're all covered in dust.
Adrian Bragi with the number 3 on his bike, finished on the 3rd place. But what a shame for Andreas Fitone from Italy.
Good race from Boisy, that though.
Yeah,
consistent.
Yeah. Very 2nd last Thursday in short track, 3rd cross country. Strong rides.
Carson Beard crosses the line, 24th for the USA. Johan van Zyl, South African, in 25th. Dario Lillo, though, what a display. What a place to do it, your home round as well. A lot more pressure on the home round, Bart.
Yeah, but he's in such a good shape. He already showed it last Thursday. He has done Tour de Romandie. I think it made him stronger. A stage race on the road. He was in the leading group for the whole race. And he was pushing hard when it came down to the last lap, to the last kilometers of this race. But Carter Woods, he came very close. 2 seconds at the end.
Seconds. But as I say, there was just a dip at the head and you thought to yourself, no, it's not there.
I mean, the positions, they are always so important. And I think also Carter Woods, he wasn't on the best position when it came down, when Dario Lillo put down the hammer at the end. And only 2 seconds left in between these two.
Riley Amos in 20th place for the American.
I'm joined here by the winner, Dario Lillo. Dario, congratulations to do the double here at your home race. It must be real specially for you.
Yeah, at the moment it's still unbelievable. Yeah, I already had goosebumps before the start because to race in front of that crowd is special, especially when you can race in the Swiss Champs jersey. So yeah, my expectations were high after the short track race, but yeah, I just wanted to enjoy the race. And yeah, I felt good from the beginning on, but yeah, it was always quite a big group. So yeah, I just tried to see a little bit the lines from the other riders, and yeah, then in the last lap I knew it will be an all-out sprint to the line. And yeah, in the middle of the lap I found myself with a little gap, and then I just knew that I had to go all out to the finish line. It was quite hard to see where the next rider behind me was, because the crowd was so loud. So yeah, they just pushed me to the line and I sprinted there, and yeah, it's an unbelievable feeling to do the double here in my home venue.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
There you go, Dario Lillo, in-depth debrief after the race there for us, but he clearly enjoyed that one.
Yeah, he didn't look exhausted at all. He was still very fresh. But
he had that look of a man that everything went according to plan. I think mentally he feels like he managed that one really well.
He was ready for a good weekend, and that's what he did. What better can you do?
Here are the highlights then. Here's how he did it. Carnage at the start off the line.
Always hard for these riders, such a big group. And it went wrong in the middle of that pack somewhere.
Yeah.
But not for the first riders. We had a group of 6, especially with Andreas Vitone. He was one of the best riders actually, and something went wrong with him at the end. We haven't seen it, but with Dario Lillo and Luca Martin here in the beginning of the race. Also, Luca Martin put a lot of effort into this race. Carter Woods from Canada, the Canadian champion, but here he was the French champion.
Carter Woods was he was right in amongst it throughout, but never really towards the front. Didn't impose himself at the front, and whenever it came down to the two of them, you thought maybe he'd kept his powder dry enough. But Dario Lillo, by contrast, always second or third bike, first bike, just right at the front of it, keeping his head on a swivel.
Yeah, 6 riders were leading for a long time. Chasing group with the leader's jersey of Oliver Solvoy.
Yeah, close contention, the Brazilian, Malacarne. This man, though, heartbreak on the final lap for Vitone. Would come in 10th after a day spent at the front. Lillo muscled his way to the front ahead of this descent.
It was hard to say who was the strongest. Of course, Dario Lillo, he was leading many times, and he showed his strength last Thursday in short track too. So he was one of the favorites for sure. And yeah,
this next fact should give you an idea of the reserves of power and energy these riders have. Dario Lillo, Carter Woods, the only 2 men to go sub 12 minutes on a lap, and it was done on the last lap. Lillo takes the fastest lap as well, because he hasn't done enough winning this weekend. He has to take home the fastest lap as well.
No extra points for the fastest lap times.
But I bet it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah, and it came down to a sprint actually, almost like a sprint. Carter Woods never came to his wheel, but only 2 seconds left. But Dario Lillo, he took the win here.
He took the win, and
Lenzerheide.
You saw there, he got out of the saddle and he looked over and he realised that no, I don't have to tap it fully on. Started celebrating. Carter Woods, still a very, very strong performance for the big Canadian national champion, and one that will certainly fill him full of confidence as we head to Leogang next weekend. Here are the standings then. Lillo leads the way by 88 points from Boissy. Carter Woods in third. Oliver Solvoy in fourth, 114 back now ahead of Luca Martin, Schelikens, Wiedemann, Hedema, Vitone and Punchar.
Yeah, Oliver Solvoy, he dropped back to the 4th place. But Dario Lillo leading now, leader's jersey for him.
Looking good.
Yeah.
As I say, like you don't get any points for that fastest lap record, but it's all just little increments of confidence, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 12 minutes lap time. It's fast.
It's fast round here, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that stacks up against the elite men's times later on.
Yeah, I think the course will be similar, maybe a little bit faster, maybe after so many riders have been ridden on it. But
well, for the weather watchers that are still with us, it is still overcast. I do think I can see rain out to the other side, just to the west off the track here in Lenzerheide. So whether that makes its way across or not, but you feel that it would take a lot of rain to make a real difference here. It's so dry at the minute.
But the routes get very slippery
they do,
immediately.
Yeah. I was trying to be
even with a little bit of rain.
I was trying to be positive there, Bart.
Okay. I think it makes it even more interesting to have a little bit of rain.
Yeah, for us in the booth, not for the racers, but for
some
us.
of the riders, they like it. They like it a bit more technical.
They do. They do. Same as in all the formats, the downhill especially. You've got that.
Oh, you have some rainy.
You've got that group there. You've got a group of 3 or 4 riders that you know love it when it gets wet and just go even harder.
Yeah, I think for the women it's more difficult, but for the men they don't have any problems most of the time.
Yep, getting the bike to grip over some routes that are covered in water, not that easy.
So the photographers lining up for the podium. And more fans coming in.
You can see this place is really starting to busy up now. Look at the size of the VIP.
Carter, second here in Lenzerheide. It was a very tough end for the race. Just take us through it. How did it go for you?
Yeah, no, I started with a steady start, and yeah, they were they were hitting it pretty hard at the top of all the climbs, and I was just keeping it steady, staying at the back of the group. Yeah, no, saving energy.
Saving energy for what point?
Whatever, you never know. It's a game of chess, and you don't know when someone's going to attack, so just staying relaxed, staying calm, and being ready for when last lap.
And what do you think that Dario had? What do you think that tiny bit on you that meant that he took the lead? What could you have done maybe in retrospect?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's super strong right now. This track it's why it's one of my favorites. It's so technical. Your brain has to be on at all times. And yeah, one wrong pedal stroke, pedal hits the root and there's a few seconds. So yeah, I was just trying to stay ready, and I surged once he got away a little bit, but it was so tight to the finish.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There we are, Carter Woods. Enjoyed his day out by the sound of it.
Tight it was at the end. 2 seconds, second place for Carter Woods. Great performance.
One of the future stars, definitely, isn't he?
He is.
Well, we can hear from the third place man today.
Can, but I didn't get any information. Did you speak to me then? Oh, okay. Adrian, second here today, and of course,
Third.
Sorry.
Nice, all right.
Second in short track. Adrian, second in short track on Friday and third here in cross country. A great result of this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, at the minute I'm a bit disappointed, but for sure, I think in a few hours I will be pretty pleased. It's my first ever walk up in a podium walk up in a cross country. I did everything I could, rode as smart as I could, and tried it in the last lap, made the hardest race as hard as I could, but I guess I didn't believe as much as I should have in the last lap, and they overtook me in a weird place, in a stupid place. I should have closed the gap, and yeah, then it was race over. But for sure, it's a really good weekend. I'm really happy with the step I've made this year, but for sure I want to win, and I race to win, so for sure one day, I hope it's going to happen.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. I hope it helps with my future and it's a step forward, but maybe one day I will be able to fight for the win.
I'm sure you will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There we go then, Adrian Boissy. Races with his heart on his sleeve, that lad. Plenty more races to come. Plenty more opportunities to walk away with a big one. Dario Lillo and Carter Woods, look like they've just been out on one of Bart's coffee rides. Pretty chilled out.
This is the ceremony of the UCI World Cup Series for the XCO U23 men's.
There is Boissy.
Lenzerheide.
You can see the anguish, you can see the effort that went into that. What could have been. Well, the good news for them is that they don't have long to wait before there's a chance to go racing again. We head to Leogang for one of the busiest weekends of mountain bike racing so far this season. Boissy then onto the podium. Third place today. He's just told us it wasn't what he was hopeful for, but it's points in the bank. And it's a superb performance under his wheels.
In second place, riding for Giant Factory Off-Road Team XC, it is Carter Woods.
Carter Woods. Well, he maybe just left it slightly too late to really challenge for the win today, but rode incredibly cleverly. And get ready for one of the biggest smiles in Switzerland today. That sounds good to Dario Lillo's ears. Dario Lillo takes to the top step. for Scott Davos MTB project at home in Switzerland at the second UCI mountain bike cross-country Olympic under-23 men's race of the year. Dario Lillo takes the win. And he does the double at home in Switzerland, having walked away with the Short Track World Cup win earlier on the weekend. Dario Lillo, first, second, third, back and forth all day today. Rode superbly from the front. And has earned every drop of that champagne. Nearly takes himself out off the podium. These three riders will lock horns together again on Friday evening coming. In Leogang in Austria. Lillo can stay where he is because we're about to get some confirmation on those standings. And he's about to get himself a fresh leader's jersey.
Ladies and gentlemen, your U23
straight into it as well, wasting no time. Dario Lillo leads the way in the overall, and he's done it at home. The best place possible. Look at what that means to him. There is the fastest bike of the day. That's Scott Spark. We'll be seeing a few more of those going bar to bar very shortly in the elite race. We start with the women's. But here is confirmation of the standings. Lillo leads the way by 88 points now from Boischy. Carter Woods, Solvoy. You have to say the big loser today as he drops down to 4th in the overall, but plenty of racing left this season. Luca Martin, Tom Schelikins, Wiedmann, Hudema, Vitone, and Punchar. You have to feel for Vitone. Did everything right today up until the last quarter of the last lap. Well, Lenzerheide always delivers, and you don't have to wait long before we go racing again with the elites. Thanks for watching. We'll see you then.